There we go. What's going on, y'all? Sorry about that. Hope everybody can hear me good.
What's going on, y'all? Sorry about that.
Just checking on this this stream real quick. It looked like it wasn't working for a minute, but we got it working. So this is former Hebrew Israelites. Welcome to San Miguel TV. It is Sunday, December 27th. This is a special holiday edition of San Miguel TV. We will have a guest hopefully soon on this live stream today. But we're going to be talking about former Hebrew Israelites. I myself, of course, am a former Hebrew Israelite. Hopefully we'll have another one on the live stream. And I felt it was kind of important to talk about this because it's pretty much a wall that you hit once you realize that maybe you came to this conclusion for the wrong reasons. This identity, which is the Hebrew Israelite identity. Most of these Hebrew Israelite cults came out of 1 West 125th Street. If you know about the Hebrew Israelite doctrine and all that, especially the ones that teach the 12 tribe sign. Now, these are the ones that came from 1 West 125th Street, Harlem. Completely different Hebrew Israelites. What's up, Mary Bennett? There might be a little delay here in the video. I had a little issue trying to get on at first, but seems like we're up and running now. But yeah, those identity cults, K-Dub. I was just on your live stream actually with the critical race theory, man. I think that's an excellent topic that we probably can find some common ground in. That's a whole nother thing with the critical race theory. But it's very, very funny how critical race theory just made its way into our educational system, and it's just almost everywhere right now. That's a whole nother topic, right? But these identity cults, man, I mean, this is what we're gonna get into. These any cult really, but Hebrew Israelite cults is the main focus. That's what I'm more familiar with. These are cults that provide you with an identity. So that's what that whole 12 tribe sign really is. It's an identity, it's a way for you to connect to this identity, or to this religion rather, to this cult, through your identity, through your of course your belief system now, and blending that, kind of like mixing that with your religious belief. That's a very I mean, they can pull scriptures to kind of support that belief, right? As you go into the Old Testament, you see that things were very tribal, and even the like when I was in the cult, I know some of these former members would agree with me too, that or they have this similar practice. It was in the Sabbath service. The ICGJC at least had this practice where when before we would go up to the podium, because on the Saturday Sabbath service we had a podium set up, right? Before we would go up to the podium, and then you had to be, first of all, you had to be circumcised. So they would ask you these things. So of course, would take people's word, and it would be like, you can only go up on the podium if you're circumcised, and you put your hand on the Torah, I believe it was, and you say some type of chant, which included your name in the so-called Hebrew, which is really a fake Hebrew that these Hebrew Israelite groups made up. You would say your name. So I would say Awar Makapash, which was my Hebrew name. Awar Makapash, supposed to mean seeker of light. Bun Yasha'Allah Bun Shemayawan, which means seed of Israel. Or actually, I think it was the other way around. Bun Shemaiwan, Bun Yasha Allah, which means seed of son of Simeon, son of Israel. So that's what I would say, you know, and everybody would say it depending on their tribe. If you were from the tribe of Judah, you would say Bun Yahawada, Bun Yasha Allah, which is a way of you saying that you're from this stock and this seed of Israel, which is supposed to be the chosen people, you know, of God according to the Bible, right? But the Hebrew Israelites claim that the chosen people are the blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans today, that we are the descendants of these people. So the entire priesthood and the service, the way it was set up on the Sabbath day was a little odd, because you know, we would say this is how they used to do it back then, and they would attribute the service and some of the practices to scriptures. But you know, it was really just going off of whatever we was taught. So, but this saying that we had to say, this chant, which we would come up, literally stand up in a salute and come at attention, smite our chest, I believe, or we put our, I forgot exactly how it worked. It's been so long, and it's funny how I subliminally have like blocked some of that stuff out of my mind. Like my memory's not too good with certain things when I try to think back, you know. And it was a brother that actually mentioned how his memory's a little fuzzy. That made me really, you know, catch on to how certain things in there, it's a little fuzzy. So that entire salute that attributed us to being, you know, an Israelite and saying our tribe, and we're Bun Yasha Allah, Bun Shemaiwan, which is you're announcing your tribe, because according to the Bible, really, wasn't that, you know, important to who was going to be the priest? You had to be from, not only from the tribe of Levi, you had to be from the lineage of Aaron if you wanted to be a high priest now. So, you know, there was a lot of rules like that. Everything was real tribal. So everything was according to the father, right? And they call this the father's seed. And this is why Israelites believe today that you are whatever your father is. And when it comes to genetics, they just don't follow. They don't believe in it at all, even though there's groundbreaking, you know, technology and groundbreaking discoveries pretty much being made almost every day with some of these, you know, with genetic splicing, genetic sequencing, and all of that. I mean, they're doing so much today. It's just crazy. But so we have a few people in the chat here. We have Cena Martin on the chat. Wow. I just want to read some of the comments here. So I'm sorry I didn't read K Dub's comments, but we're gonna do, me and K Dub are gonna do we're gonna have a discussion. I believe it's gonna be on my channel. We haven't really decided, but I mean, we'll do it on my channel, I guess. And it's gonna be between a Christian and an atheist. It's gonna be really, really good. So for those wondering, but Cena Martin, man, I appreciate you coming on my live. You know, I really enjoyed your live video. I believe that you still are an Hebrew Israelite at least, but Cena Martin is a former ICGJC member. For those, if you've seen a video that I posted, which is really her video, and I just, you know, put the whole thing on my channel because I felt it was very important, you know, to get that message out, because child grooming, man, what a topic, right? That just kind of flies under the radar constantly. And it's just so like, it almost goes unnoticed in the cult how, yeah, these women are groomed, you know, these women are groomed from a young age to just and they normalize certain things that, you know, these young girls shouldn't be going through. It's like, you know, certain things that, I mean, it's just amazing. I'm glad, you know, the sister is here, because, you know, these are testimonies and corroborating stories that prove how you know, this place was just very toxic and destructive. And I mean, for some people, they grow up and come up in this cult. which is it's an indoctrination. And it's just similar to how I came up. I was indoctrinated myself into Catholicism and all of that. I didn't have a chance to think for myself to say, yeah, this is what I believe. So when it comes to children coming up, especially in the ICGJC or any of these Hebrew Israelite cults, there's very demanding and there's a lot of fear imposed. So it's very controlling, definitely for the children. It has to be, very, very difficult. Let me just close this blind. It has to be very difficult. I mean, it's you're a child now. Your brain is still developing. Your frontal cortex is still developing. You're not able to make decisions, to your best capacity, let's say. So yeah. So Cena Martin, good to see you. I hope everything's well with you. I mean, you're definitely looking like you've bounced from this cult really strong. So I commend you on that. It's great to see that, because that confirms, just like being in the cult, the people in the cult confirm each other's beliefs. When you leave, for people that are still struggling, when they see others that leave and are okay and living life, without a problem, doing better after leaving the cult, that confirms people that are maybe just left and still doubting. And that could also help some people, leave and see that, it's not that bad outside of this cult, because being in the cult, you get pushed and you get, they put fear in you so that you don't leave, like I was saying before. So yeah, it's very difficult for children, especially because, children are very naive, impressionable. If you can tell them, you can have them believe in Santa Claus, and things like that, which is something that, I never did with my children, even after I left the Hebrew Israelite beliefs, when I was celebrating Hanukkah. At first it was a little strange as a former ICGJC member. For a few years there, I was still keeping Hanukkah. My oldest knew about Hanukkah. She was born on Christmas Day. Her birthday is December 25th, my oldest. And we always celebrated her birthday on that day. So, to me, Christmas is not, it's not a Babylonian custom. It's not what they try to say in Jeremiah chapter 10. When I read it, it's obviously talking about idols being made from the trees, from the wood, how they used to make the gods and all of that, and decorate the gods, and they were scared of the gods. Nobody today is scared of Christmas trees. People don't worship Christmas trees. I would say that there are probably certain things with Christmas that, that turn into something negative. But that can be done with anything. That's a whole other thing. But as a child, being groomed and being indoctrinated, it's just, you're not being taught reality. You're living in a fake world, and you're being trained to believe things that are just lies, and you just go with it. And then being at a certain age, you don't have the capacity to really think for yourself, because everything that around you confirms the belief, and you have your father and your mother confirming it, and indoctrinating you and putting you in fear, and the community around you. I mean, the cult was set up in a certain way where you just felt such a connection to that place, with your identity, right, with your race. It was, I mean, to specify that you are connected to somebody in the Bible, it really does something to you. I remember that feeling. So it's difficult, man. You tell a child this, and I was 19 when I first heard it. Actually, I was 20 when I first heard it and came in. So even then, I was still a kid. So I could imagine, growing up, just constantly being surrounded with nothing but people that just normalize this type of behavior that the ICGJC and other Hebrew Israelites just normalize. It's just, man, to break out of that is I commend you, and whatever your beliefs are, if it seems that you at least don't follow some of those old customs, like the how they allow women to be taken after the flower of their age, which they say is the menstrual cycle. Knowing and realizing that that's not a good thing. At least that, we're moving on, you're moving on, and you're growing. That's great. That's something that, to get stuck in the ICGJC and with no growth, that's what happens sometimes. It's just no growth. But good to see y'all on here. We should have our guest coming on here soon. I'm gonna see if it'll allow me to switch it up once he comes on. It should be able to just, blend seamlessly. But yeah, so Cena Martin, check her out. I posted one of her videos on my channel maybe 3 months ago, maybe more actually. Yeah, it was way more than 3 months ago. My bad. Probably like a year ago or something like that. Time's been flying. But yeah, check the video out. It goes into a lot of this Hebrew Israelite child grooming, which, you hear stories of Tazadakia with the, dealing with underage women. That was going on in the ICGJC. It was going on in the ICU and the ISUPK in the 90s. I mean, it happens with brothers. These things don't get reported because, again, the women, the children, and everybody's trained to not, report these things. Don't go to the devil. Don't go to Esau. All of that. It's just it's such control over your life and all that fear. And you operate in this community that you think it's just has the best for you, and you don't know anything. It becomes an echo chamber. It's a little crazy, but yeah. So it says, so Gigi, another returning watcher, viewer of the show, pretty much, or of the channel, says they talk about genealogies and make it such a big deal when their own book says, neither give heed to fables and endless genealogies, which minister questions, rather than godly edifying, which is in faith. So do. Right. 1 Timothy 1:4. So yeah, that's one thing that they used to get around by saying, well, the Bible does go into the genealogy, so you can do that. But they try to say that, oh no, that's only talking about when you don't know your parents or something like that. So they find a way to get around everything. It's like excuse after excuse so that they could continue to believe whatever they believe. But yeah, so I forgot to read Cena Martin's comment. I don't associate with any of those camps or groups. I still believe in the Word, the Bible, historical facts, only following the Most High and Holy Spirit now. Thank you for sharing. All right. So, some Hebrew, so it's good with this topic. It's kind of in line with the topic, even though she doesn't associate with the camps. And there's a lot of people I know that don't associate, with these camps. A lot of Hebrew Israelites. So you could be a former cult member, right? There's a lot of these brothers. They leave the cults or they leave one of these groups. And then when they leave the group, they could either remain a Hebrew Israelite or, like myself, challenge their beliefs even further, which is, I'm not saying that, some of y'all didn't challenge it and that's why you're still a Hebrew Israelite. But I think that there's a certain worldview already with a Hebrew Israelite and a person that accepts God as the, as a creator, as a true being, which it's just a presupposition. As we'll get into, me and K-Dub. It's very important to understand what a presupposition is, what an assumption is. We all assume, obviously. So we're going to clarify a lot of these things. But I'm going to get this brother on here in a second. Just want to let him know that, we're ready. Just message me. This is a former ICGJC member who is also a former Hebrew Israelite. We have former ICGJC members who are still Hebrew Israelites. So you know, I'm trying to understand how, like, what happens? Why do people leave the belief of a Hebrew Israelite? So I want to get into that a little bit because I think it's a little interesting, you know, thinking about, you know, somebody that went from believing such an extreme, you know, rigid belief and sticking to the letter, sticking to the word, from going from that, talking about myself, to then, you know, now being somebody that just questions a lot. I'm more suspicious, skeptical of things. I wasn't as skeptical when it came to biblical claims. I treated that as, okay, well, you know, that's my faith, so everything was just presupposed to be true. And even though I didn't understand how to defend my faith before I came into the ICGJC, I was a loose believer. I was a Catholic, you know, a Christian, I guess. Was taught that this modern day Catholicism. Grew up in a Hispanic household, you know, first generation, born in the United States. You know, Catholicism, where my family comes from in the Dominican Republic, was heavy. I mean, it's like 80% Catholic or 70% Catholic, and then the rest is like Protestant. You know, Catholicism is huge. The churches are the big landmarks in Dominican Republic. Those are the historic landmarks. They're churches in the Dominican Republic. Towns are named after friars, and, you know, because Dominicans are named after the Dominican monks, they were friars. These are people that dedicate their lives to the faith, you know, so to say. This is what I did with the ICGJC. I had my life dedicated, you know, to the faith. But yeah. So you got conversations going on in the chat, which is excellent. We got Jimmy Jordan. What's good, Jimmy? I want to get you on the live. We'll get on here. We'll get you on here soon, man. Hopefully in the turn of the new year, we'll see. You know, we'll talk. I'll email you. Now we got A Hammer, another returning viewer. The Pope doesn't believe the Bible. Bible says a bishop must have a wife and a children. I remember reading that scripture. But a bishop, there's bishops and then there's popes. So I think there's a way they get around that. But the way that what actually did draw me into the Hebrew Israelite belief, what drew me into that was knowing that, well, one of the things that I realized, like, wow, I never noticed this. The ICGJC brought this out and said that, well, there's a scripture that says, call no man your father. So, and I realized, like, in Spanish, that Pope is literally Papa, which means father. That's what that, you know, that's literally what that means. But then they call the priest father, you know, and yeah, it's just crazy. It's I mean, it's all crazy to me, of course. I mean, it's all biblical beliefs, which is just so far-fetched. A lot of the things in there are far-fetched. There is a lot of historical documents and historical records, as Cena mentioned. You know, we could get into that. You know, there's a lot of that, pretty much. But there's a lot of just inconsistencies, you know, with the some of the time frame that rulers ruled for in you know, compared to history. The story of Egypt is very, very. I mean, there's a lot of inconsistencies with a lot of things, and a lot of stories repeat themselves too. And they seem to have a certain theme to it, you know. It's just stories repeating themselves sometimes. But looks like we got our guest here. I'm gonna allow this brother onto the stream. Hope that he's ready for me. I don't know if I'm ready for him. Haven't seen his face on here, I haven't seen his face in a minute. Period. So this is a special broadcast here. But yeah, this is a brother that is another former Hebrew Israelite. Get him on here, Mr. Need to Be Free.
What's up, man?
Yes, sir. What's going on, man?
I'm good, bro. I'm good, man.
Good to see you, man. Need to be free. So yeah, I was just getting this live started. We were talking about a lot of different things because we got some people in the comment section. But the title is "Former Hebrew Israelites," right? Because that's who we are, pretty much. So I figured let's do it on that, and we just talk about why, like that whole process. Because I mean, we'll get into a lot of stories, of course, but all right. So you are a former ICGJC member.
Oh yeah.
And the former Hebrew Israelite, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. long removed, but yeah.
Yeah, it's been years. Yeah. So you left maybe a year before I got put out. And then there was a lot going on. But you were there when I came in. You were already in the organization which is known as the Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ, the Orlando division.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. It was there from the beginning, bro.
Yeah. So perfect. Let's just start there, man. When did that start? I remember the story vaguely, but what year was that? 99?
I think we got introduced to the teachings like 1999, like early on. One of the brothers from New York came down, him and his wife. You know, I don't remember all the details behind that, but you know, he started talking to us when we was young, like we were still in high school. So that was like 99, early 2000, something like that.
Right. Okay. So then they were teaching that Jesus Christ was going to come back shortly.
Oh yeah. We that for the whole Y2K thing and Christ is coming back midnight year 2000. And
right.
It had stories of cats that done maxed out credit cards and, you know, pretty much ruined their lives financially prior to, dude. So it was pushing that pretty heavy. You know, we hadn't met anybody else in the church during that time yet. We only knew him, you know what I'm saying? So we didn't know anybody else at the time.
Okay.
They were really pushing that, you know, that was a part of the teaching, the whole Jesus Christ is black and then he coming back year 2000. I can't front, man. You know, it had me a little nervous. I was like, oh, well, you know, a little bit of info. I guess Christ go save me and something like that, man. But
a lot of people were nervous at that time. I remember being in New York City. We're about the same age. I think we were born the same year too. Yeah. So I was like I don't know, a junior in high school maybe. But yeah, it was a lot of panic because of the computer thing or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think that could have added to everything, you know, with a person that believed in that whole thing, because it would have probably confirmed, like, oh yeah, you see, things are going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? That type of thing. But okay, so that was so then 2000 comes. How long did it take for them to come up with an explanation for why Jesus Christ didn't come? Like, how long was that process?
I don't even remember getting an explanation, bro. I don't even remember getting an explanation. It's like it just didn't happen.
Yeah, just ignore it.
The only thing the brother could say, he was like, you know, Christ ain't come back. You know, maybe that's, you know, dude, I don't even remember. It was really on some humbug, like, okay, it didn't happen, but you know, we still gotta follow the, you know, just like how they are now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Believe in Jesus Christ and believe in the, you know, the black Jesus and the Israelites is black, and
you know,
it just kept pushing like it ain't even happened, dude.
They're probably talking, they're probably doing the same thing with Tazadak's death. They're probably doing the same thing as like it's just all part of it. And we just keep it going type of stuff.
Yeah.
Crazy. But yeah, the year 2000 thing was I came after that, so I didn't know. I wasn't there for any of that.
Yeah.
I heard that almost like right away when I heard everything. I remember my cousin telling me that, and I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. But I was like, okay.
Yeah. No explanation behind none of that, dude. It's just they just roll right on past the dog.
Well, around like 2003, I think Tazadakia cleaned it up by saying that the spirit that was supposed to come back was the Holy Spirit, and then that he got it. That's how he kind of cleaned that up, I guess.
That was like 2003, 2004, something like that. Because Brown ball, I think 2000, 2001. That's when pretty, because just to give everybody an insight, Orlando was only like 5 or 6 cats. It was only like 5 or 6 brothers. So we, for the longest, we were supposed to go meet up with the head at the time, which was who we knew was Isaiah Nathan. At the time, his name was Isaiah Allah. But there was somebody else that was over the whole Miami camp that he pushed out to like San Antonio or something like that prior to us even coming down there. So
I heard about
a little mini split or whatever. But when we finally got down there, that was like 2000, 2001. Could have been later than that.
Right.
Mind you, we didn't really know too much about no Tazadakia. We knew of him, but he wasn't talking about no Holy Spirit or nothing like that, during that time. Nothing too crazy. It was just I noticed there was a lot of unease. Because when we got down there was a brother that was on his way out from Miami. You know what I'm saying? Because something had came out about the teachings, and I don't know if it was the Tazadakia thing or if it was something about the 12 apostles, but he was on his way. I'm trying to remember his name. It's like right on the tip of my tongue. But I remember us going down to Miami, and Arya, Kakam, Tazapawan, and Raban had came down. And they put that brother on the spot in front of everybody, man. And he was asking some good questions. And I remember Arya, I guess they couldn't really get with him and answer his questions. So Arya was like, hold on, brother. Let me ask you one question. He was like, do you understand the Bible? And the brother was like, well, yeah, I understand what I'm reading. He was like, you all Fox, sit down. No, none of us understand the Bible. And that was one of my first experience where I was like, okay, that shit didn't make any sense. But at the time, you just kind of glance over it. It's like, okay, y'all supposed to be the man of God, but none of us understand the Bible. Then what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah.
So it's like, I had to look over that because, we was fledgling, we was babies in the truth. So we just kind of the brother just we ain't see him no more after that. You know what I'm saying? After that night, we ain't see him no more after that. So I'm assuming either he left on his own or he got kicked out. I'm not too sure. But by that time we had done ran through two or three heads. By 2004, we had ran through maybe 2. We went through Isaiah and maybe 2 other cats after that, and that's when the whole the comforter thing came into play. He started talking about the Holy Spirit, and the DVD came out.
Yeah, I noticed that in 03, 04. Now looking back, that's when a lot of the changes was being implemented.
Yeah.
Heavily. So that's right. When I came in in 04, it was about 10 of y'all as far as the brothers.
Yeah. We had there was a few. We had a few more at that time when you came in.
Yeah, because you said that it was 6 of y'all at first. I know it was you, Shayar, Amath, I think. Zarai.
It was the brother from New York, Shayar, Amath, Zarai, Lakadar, and me.
Yeah.
And then there was some tag-alongs that wasn't really in it. They was just around us because we hung out with them. But they wasn't really down with it. Good for them though. Good for them.
Yeah. I remember a few of them cats because when I came in, things were still like whatever. We just cool. We just chilling.
Yeah.
But once, I think it was once Rashwan got sent out, things started getting more strict.
Yeah.
And then once they put the Hebrew Academy in, I started seeing a lot of the brothers that really wasn't with it. They was like, oh, I'm out. And that's when tag-alongs was really like, was gone.
That Hebrew Academy bring the truth out you, man. You be like,
oh man, I still remember the first day when we drove down to Miami.
Oh yeah, we ran around that track.
Yeah.
Track, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it was some brothers was vomiting on the sideline.
Yeah, I remember.
It was.
I was thinking to myself that day. I was like, "Yo, this is what it's gonna be every weekend. We gotta drive down here and run and do this and go."
I remember thinking, "Oh snap! I gotta go run during the week more."
Yeah. You're trying to think about what can I do to make this easier if it's gonna be like this? Cause
it was pretty crazy. It was pretty crazy. The first day was crazy, but that I think they put that they implemented the Hebrew Academy about 05, I believe.
I'm trying to think, because that first Passover that we went from New York, that was so 05. Yeah.
I think we
04,
graduated,
early 05.
I think we graduated 06 maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah. It was around that time, because it was shortly after that first Passover that we went to.
We were at somebody's home. That it was an apartment. Actually, it was a small apartment off of Oak Ridge, I believe, somewhere Dunwoody. No, not Dunwoody. You know what I'm talking about. I forget who's.
For Oak Ridge, that was my place.
Was it your place?
That was my place. Yeah, that was me. Me, Shayar.
Yeah.
And Shayar and Shamaka Cud. I forgot about him. So 7. It was 7 of us.
Okay. Right.
And me, Shayar, Shamaka Cud, we had that spot. And we started holding classes there first in Orlando. Right. That's when everybody came in. You, your cousin.
I think my cousin was like one of the only sisters that had came in that wasn't like a wife of one of the believers or something.
Right.
Because there was nothing but it was mostly brothers, I noticed.
Yeah.
And then just the sisters that were there were like their wives, like our wives.
Yeah, brothers had wives, but they was there, they was in, but they was out. They was in, but they was out. And then when things got going, then some of them, they stuck with it. But
I think my cousin was probably the most zealous sister in there,
bro, by far. There would probably be some sisters that would probably, well, no, I don't know, because there was definitely a difference, amongst her and the sisters.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of them would disagree, but I feel like by far, she was the most zealous. Like,
for a while, at least for a while, because then later on it just got so big, it got, not so big, but it got at least up to like 100 members in Orlando, maybe, I don't know, 80.
Yeah, it was. I don't think it was that many.
Not that many, right? I think I'm extending.
If you count the kids, then maybe.
Yeah, I remember probably the highest count that we had on the Sabbath when we counted like some visitors with kids and everything was around like 80 one time, and I remember thinking, "Wow, this is like a high number. We never got that big."
Yeah,
I used to count it. I used to always look at the attendance and be like, "Wow, it's growing."
This was at the Lancaster.
Oh, no. The other spot.
Okay. Yeah. There was a couple times we did kind of with the visitors. Yeah.
It was already like 2009 by then, 2008. I'm just remembering like certain brothers, like when Recruit Gerald used to come around. There was a lot of recruits that used to just come around, and they didn't join the Hebrew Academy. They wouldn't really join up, but we started having like regular visitors.
Yeah.
That would just come through. I remember a few brothers that, used to just come through and would ask great questions too. And would always get ignored.
Oh yeah.
It would always be like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, you know the Bible?
Sit down, Knock. That's another one. You think you know the Bible?
You try to destroy what you think you know, and just like, okay, I don't know nothing, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's all part of it too. We'll get into all of that. But okay, so then, I mean, we weren't really going through that, like, I guess, what is that? The fear tactics, the I mean, the cult tactics were stronger, I guess, once the Hebrew Academy got up and going, pretty much. Like, we started seeing more demand.
Right. It's slowly crept up on us, because like in the beginning, of course, there was no structure or nothing like that. It was just the one brother. I mean, he wasn't even supposed to be down here. You know what I'm saying? So you can imagine how we was rocking then. Like, but he was teaching us what he could. You know what I'm saying? And then once we met up with them in Miami, it was what it was. It was. I can't say in the beginning. I always tell people in the beginning it was good. Like, it wasn't nowhere near what it was in the end. Like, none of that crazy stuff that's going on now, especially none of the stuff that was going on while towards the end, none of that stuff was going on. It was really some brotherly stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, we used to just chill, just so so people get an idea. We used to like really enjoy our company and talk about scriptures. We would have food. We would all throw down. We would, we'll have a bunch of food and just eat together, go through scriptures, watch DVDs or watch movies, just chill.
Yeah.
And then after a while, once the rank started coming in, oh, you a higher rank now? I can't chill with you, or that type of stuff started coming in. Pride and all that. It changed a lot, though. I remember the changes. I'm sure you know it better than me, though.
Yeah, like you said, it was really just it was really a brotherly thing. Like, nobody had to be, you didn't feel a way about going out to do unit work,
Oh,
you
yeah.
didn't really feel a way about going out to do camp or nothing like that, because at the end of the day, once it's all said and done, brothers do their thing. We go out, we get beers, not even go out. We would just go back to somebody's house, get beers. Somebody would cook.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we would sit there and talk about scriptures and talk about what's going on in the world. You know what I'm saying? And even like I explained, I mean, you probably know, just like I know, like when Isaiah Nathan and Rashwan was running things, man, it was good.
Yeah, even then it was good. It was so good. I liked Rashwan a lot. I still do. Like, that's
yeah. Rashwan was probably my favorite.
Yeah, I love that guy, man.
Other brother, man, and I can't believe I'm forgetting his name, because at first I wasn't too sure about him. It's just he kind of grew on me, man. Dahawam. Yeah, he grew on me, man. He used to peep, like, cause me, dude. I used to play the background. Anything I would get told to do, like, I would do it real quick. It's still, play the background. Never really, put myself out there like that. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, "Oh, you think you're gonna chill? You think I ain't got nothing else for you to do?" He's like, "Come over here, come do this, come do that, come do this." Right? It could be days where I'll be off from work. He was like, "I know you off. Come up to the church. I got some stuff for you to do." He'll come up there. I'll come up there, man. He'll have like 10 things for me to do, man. I'll knock that shit out and just be standing there looking at him. It's like, "Oh, you want to go home? You want to go home?" I'm like, yeah. I'm just trying to go back to the house. You know what I'm saying? Go chill.
Crazy.
I won't grew on me after a while, man. I ain't even gonna front. It was a bit of a culture shock. I have to admit, he's the one who brought the whole Israelite culture shock. When he showed up, like, it was like, boom, this is what an Israelite is. This is what we do. This is how things go down. When we get out there, we be out there on the podium speaking, because he would get up there on the podium. He would go for like hours, dude.
Yeah. You remember the first class?
Yeah.
That shit was crazy.
Dude. I
like 4 hours, but then there was no topic, and we were going. Right. We were just jumping from a scripture, and I remember he would pull out scriptures that till this day I would look for, and I can't find it.
You can't find it.
I'm like, where is the story? I'm like, there's a story where King David locked up his wife or something in a dungeon or something. Yeah. Or something like that.
For whatever reason, he would know the scripture, though. He would know, like, he would pull like 40, 50 scriptures a night, dude. Just off the dome. Just off the dome. I used to be like, yo, what the heck? What the hell is going on? I used to kind of want to do that.
Yeah.
The kind of mental work that goes into remembering that stuff, dude.
It was no consistency. It was just like,
he was all over the place. He was all over the place.
It's like I mean, that's got to cause some type of damn attention deficiency or something, man. Like, we couldn't even concentrate on one topic. And then I forget where we was at. I'd be like, wait, how did we get here? And he'll forget too.
Yeah. Oh man, you just bring back memories. He would forget.
Forget all the time.
He'd be like, what was we talking about?
All the time, man. So I think that there's something connected to, like, with that, because that whole here a little and there a little way of like understanding scriptures.
Yeah.
That's got to throw your whole concentration off, because it's like you think you're focusing on one thing and then they completely pull the rug out, and then it's like, when we talking about something else? What are we talking about?
Yeah, right.
But that's crazy. So he came in about like 06, because Isaiah Nathan was there when I came in. We was doing classes over the phone.
Mm-hmm.
It was in Miami. That's why. And so we didn't have no high rank in Orlando. But when they sent Rashwan, he was the first high ranking New Yorker. Like Dahawam was from Philly, but Rashwan, he was Jamaican too, and he was in the military. And and he had set up. He had us marching, right? He would have us marching all the time. He had the marches all down packed. So he set up the Hebrew Academy. Yeah, he prepared us for the Hebrew Academy, and he helped Dahawam. Yeah. But once they sent Dahawam and things got started, it was like, holy crap! Like this guy is not playing. Yeah, and like he had came from Minnesota, where he had set up the Hebrew Academy.
Minnesota. I forgot about that. Yeah, he did come from Minnesota.
Well, he's originally from Philly, but they send him everywhere. Yeah. So he would always say,
he was the high priest of states. He was the high priest of states at the time. That's why they moved him around so much.
You remember he would be like, what city am I at right now? Like, yeah. What city's at? And he'll be
he got moved around so much, he don't know where he was at, man.
He'll be like, I was just in the cold in 0-degree weather, and they sent me out of nowhere. They're like, you got to go to Orlando. And he was like, all right, whatever.
That's one thing, though. He'll move. Whenever they say move, he will move, dude.
Yeah, he was a trooper, man. He didn't care about a job. He didn't care about a girl.
None of that.
He didn't care about his family.
None of that, dude. All he wanted to be about was the church, dude. That was it. If I had to say it, dude, he was more committed than 90% of these dudes that I remember even being in there, dude. Like it didn't get in some positions I seen Dahawam in that I care not to speak of, bro. Like, yeah, nobody was more dedicated than that dude in my eyes, bro. I don't even know one. I don't even know one, bro. Some of the other cats might know some people, but that's who I know. I mean, as far as dedication, he was like the example. Like, yeah, it was only the church. That was it. It was nothing else.
Right, and then, but yeah, so Dahawam, man. I mean, we could talk about that man forever. Rest in peace to Dahawam. Yeah. I still have a few photos of him that I took for because remember they had us taking pictures of camp, and we would have to like send it up or scan it or something. I forgot how we used to send it up to New York. But I have a photo of him and you doing camp on Americana in Texas.
Yeah, you gotta send me that, bro.
Yeah, I got it. I seen it like a week ago. I still got it. I think it's up on my desktop actually. That's why it came up. I know I've seen it recently. I was thinking about him. That guy. He also knew Boyz II Men, Wanye Morris and Stock.
Yeah, they came. I remember they came one time. They came a few times actually.
Yeah,
they came a few times while he was there.
But they came at one time. Me and my wife, we was sitting up at the top of the stairs from the front entrance. Yeah. And they literally just walked right in, and I'm looking like, yo, that's Boyz II Men. I know how Boyz II Men looks. That's and that's my friend that they were in the church already, but I was like, wow, that's just crazy. And I said shalom. I was in my garment, so they came right up to me like, yo, where's the church at? Where's the church? And they knew Dahawam and all that. And it was crazy. They saluted him. And we up in a little suite, an office suite.
Yeah, office suite, yep.
With an old-ass carpet and all that we used to rent out in an old building right by downtown.
Yeah, off of 50.
Yeah, which was actually the most convenient location for me because I'm all the way on the east side.
Yeah.
So that spot was dope, man. And it's crazy. It's just a lot of history. Like I drive by there a lot, even till this day, because it's right
every day. I drive by there every day, bro, and I still look over there. I look over there like,
I look over there. Yeah, it's like all the most of my memories, like my fondest memories in the car, are right there.
Yeah. I think everybody can agree to that one, though. Anybody that was around long enough can agree to that one.
Because that was like the beginning where I was like, yo, we doing something big, yo. I thought we were doing something big, and the growth that I was seeing, because that was our first actual building. Yeah. That was the first location that we had besides somebody's apartment. Mm-hmm. Gather at. So this was a neutral location where we could all get together and we would clean it. We would vacuum it. We'd clean the bathroom. We would clean the bathroom that everybody in the
building uses, bro.
We would clean that because we would use it, and you already know the sisters or the kids would go in there, right? Yeah, it would be crazy. It was crazy, but to see like Grammy Award winning artists up in a place like that doing the salute, crazy. I think about it now, and I'm like, wow. But yeah, that was in Orlando. That was about like 06, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And then about 09 or 2010, you left, I think it was.
Yeah, about, I can't even say about. I know it was 2010.
Yeah,
2010.
I remember that whole time because it wasn't just you that was feeling that way. I was feeling that way. Shayar was feeling that way. Everybody was like, by that time, I think they sent Yashar maybe in 09 or 08.
Yeah, Yashar showed up. Let me think about that. Yashar showed up.
Yeah, because that woman got busted.
About 09, about into 08, something like that.
Yeah, Zahawan was already gone.
Yeah,
and I had my rank, I believe, my captain 13,000 rank, I believe.
Yeah. When Yashar showed up, we all had rank already because we was running the show prior to him being there. We was running the show by himself.
Oh, since I got you on, yeah, man. Let's corroborate the story with Yahalama. You remember that story where Tazdaki was screaming on her in the car? Can you remember? Do you remember that? Because we spoke about that, and I brought it back to your remembrance, and you were like, "Oh, snap!"
So that it was on the Sabbath.
Yeah,
I remember it was on the Sabbath. I remember. I think it was me, you, and what's the cat's name?
Manatzazak.
Because we were the 3 highest ranks at the time, and me and Manatzazak, I believe at the time, we was on NIS at the same time.
Yeah,
and we got pulled off a post to come in there, so we had no clue what was going on. So when we come in, he's got the 3 of us lined up in front of the podium. It's him and Tazapawan. But I think there's maybe 1 or 2 other people up there with him. That's not really the important part. But she was sitting back, in the front row of the brother side.
Yeah,
she was sitting back on the front row of the brother side, sobbing. And I don't know about y'all. I had no clue what was going on. So he was like, "Yeah, brother, you see this? Y'all brothers, y'all see this sister right here? You see this sister right here?" He was like, "Yeah, this sister right here, she don't listen. We told her plenty of times to stop freeloading and whatever. Of course, I don't know the details behind this whole freeloading accusation, but we told her plenty of times to stop freeloading, and she still continued to do it. So she's out. I don't know, what did he suspend her for, like a week or something like that, or like a month, or I don't remember. But he put her out for like a disclosed amount of time.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, laughing while she's crying on the front row. He was like, yeah, you see her over there crying. The sister talking about she ain't got no money. He's like, yeah, we're gonna put her out. We're gonna throw some money at her. We're gonna throw some money. We're gonna throw some money. He's gonna look to the side and he started laughing.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. I remember that part. I was like, wow, the disrespect, right? Like,
did she talk about that? Was that in the video, that whole?
Yeah, I spoke to her for like 45 minutes, and that came up.
About the throwing money part?
Oh, nah, I didn't bring that up. I remember we spoke about that later. It came to me later when we were talking about it. And I remember that I remember that he said that, but I didn't bring that out in the video with her.
Okay, yeah.
Because I think she did say that he gave her some money. I think it probably did come up, because they did give her some money to hold her down, and then but she couldn't stay with nobody, so she stayed in her car. She was living out of her car and cleaning herself and washing her face in a CVS bathroom.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Okay. See what, since we talked about it, but what threw me off is that he said that, and then
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I can't remember if it was the conversation that me and you had or if that was mentioned in the video, but that part correlated with something else that we talked about, and that's why I was like, this nigga was he was like literal. He was being literal about this shit.
Yeah.
And that day, there's a lot of shit that happened with this dude when he showed up to Orlando, and shit just didn't.
Well, you saw the Lamborghini too.
The shit didn't add up, dude. Like there was another Sabbath where, and you know how these Sabbaths are, man. Like we wasn't doing it like in New York because we didn't have no apostles down here to do the prayers all day. and all that shit. But we still had our certain times of the day where, you know, cats would get breaks and lunch break and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I mean, just being in there felt like a task. It felt like work, bro. So to see this dude pop up, not even that, like on a Friday night, I'm at the front door on NIS. He pops up at the front door. I hear somebody knocking on the door, so I open the door. At this time, I'm all, you know, still like, oh, the comforter, you know, and I see him. He's like, oh, brother, relax. He's like, he asked me to do something. He asked me to get somebody's attention. But through the crack of the door, I could see this Lamborghini backed up to the parking spot. It's orange. And there was a few other people outside with him or whatever. He had his little fisherman hat on. It was the outfit he had in one of them videos, that they shot that was floating around the internet, where you had the white girl, he put the girl's head down in his lap or whatever. It was one of the outfits he had on in that video. And that's how I made the correlation, like, oh, this dude, he went out on the Sabbath, he went to the club to go party. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I don't know if it was the next day or the day after, but he shows up again in this orange Lamborghini. Mind you, I think class is over. We getting ready to go, you know, set up for camp or whatever. Shows up again in this orange Lamborghini. And I see a female in the passenger seat. I don't think nothing of it because I'm like, oh, okay, you know. To tell you the truth, I didn't know if he had a wife or not at the time. I didn't know about Nisha until I think you started making videos with her. Like, I didn't even know about Nisha. I thought the man didn't have a wife the whole time. But needless to say, he had some female.
It wasn't Nisha in the car. It wasn't her in the car.
No. This was what I could tell is that she was dark skinned. He got out. I mean, I remember when he got out the car, he didn't even have no garment on, bro. He had like a wave cap, like a Ed Hardy. This one, Ed Hardy was like popping. He had like an Ed Hardy shirt and, you know, some jeans or whatever. He walking into the temple like that, bro. Like, I don't know what he even came there for. To tell you the truth, he could have just came to get some cash or whatever, but he came in, he stayed in there for maybe about 20-30 minutes. He went in, you know, that little room, that little office room that we never used while I was there. At least it was only for him. But he went in there, came out, got in the car, drove off, and left, bro. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, yo, it's the Sabbath. Like, what is this cat? What he been doing all day? This is when I started to become disenchanted with the place, because I'm like, okay, yeah, this is too much stuff that's not making sense. And the top guy who's supposed to be the holiest of holies, like, he breaking the rules. Like, the rules don't apply to him, bro. Like, what's going on? Like, what do we need? Some level of understanding or spiritual enlightenment in order to get where you at, where we can party on the Sabbath, bro? Like, I don't get it. But he drove off like it wasn't nothing, man. I'm pretty sure he yelled. He came down on a couple cats on his way in and his way out. But I was outside in the parking lot, so I ain't see no need to really go in there. But yeah, bro. And I tell you the truth, dude. Shortly, because I know. Okay, so I know this cat when I see him, man. And me and Ricky, we talk about this all the time. But I know him when I see him, man. Shortly after I had left that place, bro. I don't know if you know where like Rio Grande and LB McLeod meet in town. Like Rio Grande, LB McLeod, I-4 is right there, but it's the hood. Whatever, it's the hood.
I think I know.
So I was actually driving to go get Shalom Gabar. Mm-hmm. And I know I saw this cat, man. I know I saw Tazadaki because he's the only one that would be in the streets wearing these what the hell was those shoes?
Prada shoes?
The Prada sneakers.
Prada?
Yeah, the Prada sneakers that he used to wear under his garments. Yeah. Bro, he had those on. And I'm like, dude, he's the only person I've ever seen with them on. And that's what made me look at the guy. Because I was like, oh, shit, I only ever seen those on one person out here. And when I looked up, I'm like, yo, that's Tazadakia. He was standing in front of the complex, like kind of in front of a bus stop. And he was pacing a little bit like he was waiting on a ride or whatever. And I'm like, that's Tazadakia. So at this point, I'm like, everything's running through my mind. I'm like, why the fuck is he standing over here in the hood in front of this complex by himself? Like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I'm saying? So I whip around the corner. I go in the complex, whip around the corner, and I go grab Shalom Gabar. And I'm like, yo, you're not going to believe this, but Tazadak is in front of your neighborhood. He was like, whatever, I don't believe. I was like, bro, just get in the car because I need you to come look so you can verify. But by the time we get there, mind you, only like 5 minutes done passed by a week. By the time we get back around the corner, to in front of the complex, of course, he was gone, which which sealed the deal even more for me, because I was like, bro, the bus wasn't running. The bus didn't come this quick. You know what I'm saying? And he wasn't like standing directly in front of the bus stop. Like he was like off to the side, like he was waiting on the ride or whatever. Dude. That, even though I was out, that even sealed the deal even more for me, because I was like, this dude, he be out here doing his thing, bro. Like I don't know. I guess he think that people are not gonna notice him in the streets or whatever. He get, it's a free for all because he in the city where he not known. But I was like, dude, I knew I left for a good reason, because this dude, this shit right here is fake, bro. Because this dude, he out here doing his thing, bro. And the whole, I didn't even know that until even when we was there with Yahalama, I didn't even know that they were like, that was one of his wives. I didn't know that, bro.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
I didn't know that. I knew the new girl. I keep calling her the new girl. This is like years ago.
Lauren.
Lauren. I knew that was another thing that was trife too. That was trife as hell. Because I don't even know how long she was here. She wasn't even here a year yet.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time we had the rule that you couldn't ask the court the sister until she had been in the church for like a year. I think that's how it went.
Right.
She wasn't even here a year yet. She went to the Hanukkah party with us. I saw the whole thing. I peeped it all. Like,
yeah,
showed up. When we showed up, I think he tried to get her attention, or he did get her attention like 2-3 times during the whole Hanukkah thing. You know what I'm saying? Because it would just be random moments. Like I would look over my shoulder and I would see them over there talking. And it'll be some weird, and she'd be over there by herself, and he'll have these 2 security guards with him, and he over there trying to mac or whatever he doing. You know what I'm saying? Dancing or whatever.
I spoke to her. I actually found her and spoke to her, and she told me all of that. Told me how it all happened. Yeah, she's still in Florida.
Oh wow!
She actually commented on the interview that I did with Yahalama.
Oh,
and she came up in that I did with her. She came up and spoke about how she came out of nowhere and he quickly scooped her up like real fast, and then she was getting more attention and more love than Yahalama, who was already like his girl, which we didn't know. He kept that secret.
Yeah.
But he would have Lauren in front of the apostles. He flew her up to New York once, because New York would have like the real big events.
Yeah.
And, so yeah, she was no courtship necessary, because the rules don't apply to him, of course.
Yeah, none of that, dude. I was like,
beautiful sister, like model type, that was like, her father was Italian, by the way.
I didn't know that.
Her father's Italian, which would be white.
I wonder if he knew that shit though. I wonder if he knew that shit.
And I think he was like even like a Sicilian Italian, like he was like a damn Italian, like a European.
Yeah.
But that's one thing that's like, oh, it don't matter, whatever. She's a sister, and everybody was ready to jump on that. So brothers in there are like vultures, man. But I mean,
we treat her different and everything, man. When that went down, she was special, man. We couldn't or NIS, whatever the protocol was on NIS, man. Like I remember we couldn't go through none of that with her. She could just walk straight in. Like we had to take people's phones, like she could keep her phone and all that kind of stuff, dude. So that's what kind of threw me off, because I'm like, oh, okay, that's his wife, but damn, you was dealing with Yahalama the whole time, bro. And you wasn't like, she didn't get the same treatment. Like dude was on some wild shit, man. He was on some wild shit.
Yeah,
he was on some real wild shit.
Yeah. He was being too like out there, and like I can't believe you've seen him in the streets. That's crazy.
Yeah, bro.
I think I remember you told me that story once, and I'm like, that's a known drug area. Like that's a drug area, man. Yeah,
dude. I really I like to speculate and think that he had something going on with one of the females in the apartment complex. You know what I'm saying? And the ride didn't show up when it was supposed to show up. That's why I like to speculate, because I was like, that's the only reason. Either it's that, or you done came and copped yourself a bag or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you're not finna be over there.
You couldn't take the Lambo in that hood.
No, you're not finna be over there like that, just chilling, bro.
Yeah.
No. You're not finna take no Lambo over there. You know what I'm saying? And You ain't gonna let none of the SUVs pull up in there and see you probably doing some dirt either. You know, you're gonna stand out on the corner and wait for your ride. And,
Right,
you know,
right.
ain't nobody gonna question you. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy, man. Tell the
He could get away with a lot of shit out here.
Yeah, I mean, this cat must have had like, I mean, sociopaths have this really high opinion of themselves, you know. So he must have thought he could get away with everything, especially at the point where he got to, where he had people crying, touching him, and like fucking. It was crazy. It was like he was Michael Jackson in the ICGJC, you know, like he was Jesus Christ.
I remember one day, man. At the time, Yashar was staying with us. Yashar was staying. That's a whole nother story in its own. But Yashar was staying with us, man. And I remember I had called out from work or something like that. And matter of fact, no, this was the night before. I don't know. I don't even remember what went down, but I remember Yashar got a phone call. And he was like on some concert, yes sir, concert. You know what I'm saying? I knew he was talking to Tazaraki because of the way he was talking. It was real on some real meek. You know how Yashar is with us. He on that rah rah rah. I'm running the show, brother. You off all the time type shit. And when he get on the phone with Tazaraki, he be on some meek shit. Oh, concert, you know, some, you know. So he goes outside and he gets on the phone. All right, the next morning, I think I called out from work, and he asked me to. Yashar ended up asking me to take him around and run some errands or whatever. And he was like, "Oh, brother," he's like, "Brother, man, that was a comforter on the phone last night, brother. I thought, you know, such happened, and I thought I was gonna lose it, brother. I thought I was gonna lose my life, brother. Blah blah blah." I was like, in my mind, I'm like, "What?" You was just having a conversation with this man. This is just a conversation that you having with this next man, bro. Like, I don't understand. Like, you sounded like you was about to break down and start crying last night. And then you get up, you talking to me about how you thought you was about to lose your life because, I don't know, maybe you didn't do something he told you to do. Like,
that's crazy. It's like they on the verge of having a heart attack.
Right. And I'm like, I don't understand how y'all can have so much, like,
I mean, I had a little bit of that too, but yo, Yashar was on another.
He was on a different level, bro. He was on a different level. Like I remember when I left, and this is why I would never get on video. I think I got on video one time when they was recording, and they threw that shit back in my face or whatever. I didn't give a shit at the time because I was like,
I remember that, yeah.
It was like, oh, you know, I think I said something to the effect, oh, I would never leave the truth, and the comforter is the comforter, and blah 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 blah. But in the heat of the moment, yeah, I said that, but obviously now I didn't mean that. But I still, to this day, I still don't understand how y'all can have so much reverence for this dude that does dirt. He don't do the dirt in front of y'all, but he does some dirt in front of y'all. He treats y'all like shit. You know what I'm saying? When the time comes, you know what I'm saying? And I just couldn't understand why y'all wanted to be so close to a person that was, to me, not looking back on it, was such a snake, bro, when it came to shit like that. Like you very manipulative, very controlling. Like I just couldn't find that, I couldn't see that connection that like what Yashar had. I couldn't bring myself to be that way. Like people, he would come around, brothers would be excited, but I wouldn't be as excited. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be as excited about it because I'm like, all right, bro, like this nigga finna line us up and find something wrong and something to say. Like, I don't know what y'all excited about. He's finna put every single one of y'all on the spot. Like, I don't get it. You know, I remember the nigga lined us up at Lancaster one time and was like, he lined us up. He put us all in Majum Shabbat. You know, you got your hands in front of you or whatever. He talking to us. And he said something to the effect, oh, yeah, look at that brother right there talking about me. He's like, I bet you that brother don't know that I saw him move his thumb. And I wasn't even looking over there. And in my mind, I'm like, I think everybody in the line moved their thumb. Like, bro, I don't understand if he's trying to make this seem like something magical to me or what, but like, whatever. I think he was trying to give the impression that he was doing something godlike or angelic. Like he was doing something that nobody else could do. Like,
he would do that, man. Right? Yeah, he would do that a lot. That's part of a cult, man. When I was watching the Margaret Singer talks about that, you know, how cult leaders always try to give the impression like they're untouchable, they're on a different level, and they can't be wrong. They never admit that they're wrong and none of that. But definitely, they try to appear like they're supernatural.
Yeah.
The doctor would always do that. He's like, I know that I see that sister, I see that demon back there. One of the sisters in the back.
I forgot about that,
He
bro.
always throw that out. Oh, one of these sisters back here. He always say in the sister section in Orlando, he would say, I don't know who he was talking about, but he probably just look at somebody's face, and people be like, oh, snap. And it's like, he's probably just looking at somebody's expression, because there were certain people that their expression was just like, they couldn't hide that shit. So, and then people would be like, yo, like my cousin would be one of the ones that would be amazed. Manatazak, I remember, would be amazed. My iPhone, they would go crazy. Remember that? They'd be
Oh, come on, man. Bro, a lot of times he would be talking about people that's, it was something as simple as, being on NIS, you get to see. So he would do that whole, somebody in the crowd got a demon on them or whatever, and he'll do that, he'll talk that talk. But on NIS, you get to see, you know what I'm saying? So if you're looking in the crowd, you could tell, like a lot of times he'll be talking about somebody that's asleep, like somebody that's falling asleep. Yeah. But to the rest of the crowd, because you can't see what he sees, you think that he's talking about somebody that's got a demon on them and they out there, and it's like, it's either they sleep, they making some kind of facial expression, in reaction to something that he said, because a lot of times people can't hide emotions, so the shit comes out immediately and they don't know that they're doing it. So he'll be out there, he'll be like, oh, the brother and sister got a demon on them, blah, 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 blah. And Manatasak and Maibun and One, those three, and Magun, those four will be the most excitable ones out of everybody there. They'll be like, oh, God, just going crazy over little shit like that. And I'd be like, I'm hyped because they hype. I'm like, oh, that's what they're excited. But I'm not, like, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't care about, really what's going on with what he's talking about. Because
I definitely saw that. With you and myself when I remember specifically a certain time where, I was just like, I'm not going to class today. It was a Sabbath. It was me and you. We were like the only ranking members.
Yeah.
And everybody was like up in New York or something. And like we had to hold down the entire Sabbath service and then go do unit work. And I literally called you and said, yo, I'm unclean. I cannot make it. And I wasn't unclean. I was just like, yo, I just didn't want to go that day.
Listen, we all use that unclean excuse.
Say that again?
We all use that unclean excuse a lot, bro. We all use it, It's like when you hear it, you know what's up. It's like, all right, you don't feel like coming in. But yeah, man.
It's either that or they purposely, lay down with their wife or something.
Yeah. But that happened plenty of times, dude. Like throughout that entire time where we didn't have nobody over us, bro. I don't remember. I think Taiwan was gone, and that was during that little stint. And the rest of these cats got busted. They was generals. They got busted. So it was just me, you, Manatazak. Manatazak got busted too. He just got busted down to 13,000.
Right.
But a lot of times, if I had to think about the memories that I had when we was just us running it, I don't remember Manatazak that much. Because I still think he was kind of on the healing process of having his rank taken.
Yeah.
But so he wasn't really like out there like that. But there's been plenty of times, like, dude, there's times where, if you call, matter of fact, I think that day that you called in, I don't know if we were supposed to go do camp or something. I don't remember, but I know we didn't do it.
Yeah.
I know we didn't do it. I was like, you know what? We do this shit every day, bro. Like these cats is tired. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Oh, I look outside. Oh, man, it's getting dark. Sun going down. We would have broke down anyway. All right, man. What y'all got to do? You know what I'm saying? All right, man. Put that stuff up. Let's slide. Because, dude, every day.
But by the time, when you left in you said 2010.
Yeah.
Was that had to be around the time when we were doing unit work like every day, and it would be like multiple units that would go out during the day. It would be like a morning camp. It would be an afternoon, and then it would be a nighttime.
Right.
And I would always get caught with the nighttime, and we would have to go on UCF campus. And a lot of times I would be in school, and I would get out like 9:30. but I would front like, nah, I don't get out till like 11. And yo, one time they were still there on UCF campus, and it was like 10:30 at night, and I was like trying to postpone it, like, yo, I'm staying a little, I gotta stay a little later or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I finally told them, like, oh yeah, I thought it was safe. I'm like, yo, I'm finally, I'm done. And they're like, oh yeah, come through then. I'm like, damn, man. Sometimes I would meet up with them.
Oh man.
Right on UCF, because it's on my side of town already.
Yeah.
But then I would have to go back to the damn church all the way. And I'm like, damn, man, like I didn't even start off with y'all in the church. Why I gotta go back with y'all?
What I do?
But you can hear me?
Yeah, I think I pressed the wrong button, man. I'm trying to get you back on here.
Okay. Let me see. I could see you though, but you just can't see me.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it's my first time doing this, man. So
right, the stream.
Oh, how do I get back?
But I could see you definitely. I don't know.
There you go.
I think. Yeah, it's weird. I think you gotta click on the actual image and then a button pops up.
Yeah.
But so all right. So then let's go to when you basically left, pretty much like 2010.
Yeah, 2010. Honestly, dude, Yashar came through, and he was like the beginning of the end for me, because I thought at one point I was gonna have to put my hands on Yashar at one point, dude, because
You lived with him.
Yeah, one he
lived with you.
He lived with me, because it was me and two other brothers. It was our place, and he found his way up in there. He didn't really ask, bro. He just kind of came and never left.
Wow.
Because he was the higher ranking member. We didn't feel the need or the we didn't have the balls to be like, yo. Harakahan probably did, but I think we told him don't worry about it. But the other two of us, we didn't really have the balls to be like, bro, you gotta go. You know what I'm saying? Because really, he had nowhere else to go. That's why he popped up at our crib like on some humbug shit, like not even asking. But
Harakahan don't take no crap, man. He didn't like that at all.
Nah, he was like, when he came home and seen him, he was like, yo, what is he doing here? I was like, yeah, man, he just said he was gonna be here for the night. You know what I'm saying? Because it's whatever. We ain't in there no more. I can talk about this shit. He was at the spot. He was at that spot. Remember, he was at that spot with Zaquan.
Right.
Lamar Gabar had left there. Lamar Gabar had left there not too long ago to come to be with me and Harakahan, because we felt like we was the brothers that kept jobs or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So we kept jobs. We paid our bills. So we knew we could financially trust each other to hold something down. So we made this agreement to go ahead and get this apartment together. It was a 3-bedroom, nice ass apartment, brand new. Yashar popped up. He was over there, staying over there with Zaquan. He's staying with it was Zaquan. I think it was Zaquan. I'm a one, my bun, and maybe one other person. But this was a really small apartment, right? And Zaquan was supposed to be taking care of the rent or whatever, and they were supposed to be chipping in and doing whatever agreement they were supposed to have. Somehow, some way, I guess the lights got cut out, and the power, the lights and the water got cut off, and we was a matter of fact, we was on our way back from camp, and I was dropping them off at their place. It was Zaquan and Yashar.
Right.
Zaquan went in the house. Yashar was doing something on his laptop. Zaquan comes back out of the house. Yashar looks at him with like this grin on his face. And Zaquan got this grin on his face. He's walking, I guess, to this. She was a visitor at the time, but apparently he was dealing with the sister. So he goes, I guess he went to her place. And Yashar's like, yo, you think you can, we can, he's like, I really want to take a hot shower. You think that maybe I could come by your crib and take a shower? Because the hot water heater ain't working over here. Yeah. I don't think he knew. I think he didn't know that I already knew that the power was out, dude. Like, I already knew what was up. Because somehow, some way, I think Lamar Gabar told me that. So I already knew the power was out. So I'm like, all right, whatever. He lied. He's sitting over here lying. I guess he don't feel away. I guess he don't feel too proud about me having to tell somebody his life is out or whatever. Right, whatever. Yeah, you can come take a shower. So I brought him to the house, gonna take a shower or whatever. He's like, yeah, when I'm done, I'm gonna take a shower. He's like, you can bring me back to the house. So bring me back to the house, turns into 2 hours later, turns into him talking about, oh, I'll just go back in the morning. Long story short, he never left. So you know how Yashari is. Imagine dealing with him day in and day out, bro. And then having to deal with him day in and day out at home and at the church. So he was part of the reason, but he really wasn't all of the reason. It was really like that stuff like with Tazadakia and a lot of the teachings that didn't make sense, which I went over extensively when I got out.
Right.
But I remember the night. When I made the decision because he did some fuck shit that night. I remember I was at work and I had to make up some time at work because of some time that I took off for a church event. So I was like, I gotta be here later. You know what I'm saying? And at the time, my gun was working there. Mike Bun wasn't working there. My gun was working there. I think Mike Bun was working there. I'm not sure. My gun.
Gabayala, right? Dabar
Oh, Gabayala, Dabar Maf. Yeah, it was us four.
Yeah, I remember.
And
my gun. Man.
And my gun. Yeah, I remember I had to stay, but it was a Sabbath. It was a Friday night. And I had to stay. I was like, I'm going to stay here because I'm going to make up these hours that I missed or whatever. So they left. Of course, they in class or whatever. Another one of them situations where I was going to class, but I wasn't rushing. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm going to go, but I ain't finna like speed my way over there. Because at the time, I think my car was in the shop. So my mom had to come pick me up from work. So she picked me up. And she took me to class. I remember getting out the car. Mind you, my mom's parked in the parking lot right in front of the church. And I get out the car and I walk up. And Yashar was like, oh, brother, why you late? And in my mind, I'm like, oh, that wasn't the kicker. The kicker's this. My gun worked with me. My gun knew what was up. My gun wasn't my squad leader, but I told my gun was one of the generals. I told my gun exactly what was going down. Mm-hmm. And I think I left Zaquan. I think Zaquan was my squad leader, and I left him a message. Exactly what was going down. So when I get there, he's like, oh, brother, why you late? So in my mind, I'm like, are you seriously asking me why the fuck I'm late? And I already explained this shit like 3 or 4 times to like 3 people. Right. And this is what I'm thinking to myself. But of course, at the time we didn't respond that way. It was like, oh, so I explained it to him again. So he was like, oh, okay, cause you got to be here up. It's the Lord's Sabbath, blah, 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 blah. So Yashar comes out the door, mind you, because they got me standing off to the side in Madhu Shabbat. They got, the sisters and visitors still lined up to come in. So Yashar come out. He goes, oh, brother, why you late? In his Yashar way. And I'm like, damn, I got to explain this shit again. Like, I can't believe this shit. Like, this nigga gun didn't tell nobody nothing. You know what I'm saying? So he goes on his little rant, and I'm like trying to explain it to him. He's like, brother, shut down. And I'm looking at him like, in my mind, I'm like, who the fuck this dude think he talking to? Because like my mom is like parked right there in the car. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't paying attention, but I felt the way because I'm like, you trying to belittle me in front of my people, bro. Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? So he's like, oh, brother, shut down. When the general talking to you, you don't need to da-da-da-da-da-da. Basically, the general's talking to you, so you don't need to talk back. Because you a subordinate or whatever, Crazy. I made my decision right there in the front. I was like, I'm done. I was like, I'm done. Like, I checked out. Right then and there because I was like, you know what? If he keep going, it's gonna be a problem. But he ended up stopping. So and that wasn't the only time Yashar did that to me, and that wasn't the only time I was, this close to being like, yo, you gonna have to relax, bro. Like, because he pulled me off to the side one day in front of some sisters in front of Lancaster and was doing that same shit, and I was like, all right, man, like, I don't know, you the new guy, I don't know, how things go, but we don't talk to each other that way, but whatever. Yeah. So I go into the classroom or whatever, and I sit down, bro, and it's like I felt like I was in another world, like I didn't belong, like something was wrong. And I just remember sitting there. I'm upset. I'm a little confused about where I am because, again, I feel like I don't belong. And then I start looking around, and I'm looking at these icons. And I'm looking around on the left and looking at the icons, and I'm looking at these people all around me, and I'm like, yo, I think my cult cord was severed, because I was like, am I really in my mind? I was like, where the fuck am I? Like, what the fuck is going on? And I just remember the feeling of not wanting to be there, not belonging there, and telling myself, I was like, yo, when we leave, because I had to get a ride home with Darbar Moth.
Yeah.
I said, when I get to the house, I was like, I'm not doing none of that normal shit that we do when we get to the crib on the Saturday night, bro. I'm off all of that shit. Like, I'm finna go grab me a beer, a couple beers, and I'm finna chill. You know what I'm saying? I was already in my mind. I was already like, I ain't got nothing to do tomorrow because I'm not going to class. And dude, when class was over, when class was done, I beeline straight for the front door. Got my phone, beeline straight for the front door, and went and stood by this brother's car until he was done doing whatever he needed to do. We got in the car. We drove home, and I remember Laharash. I know it was Laharash, Rapayala, and the other brother. I don't remember his name. Skylar. That's all I remember. Skylar. I don't remember his Hebrew name.
Barzal.
Yash.
Yeah.
So he came. I remember at first it was him and Laharash. It was because they knew something was up, because I was cool with both of them. I was tight with both of them. They knew something was up because I wasn't acting the same. I had my laptop or whatever, and I ain't even gonna front. I was sitting out on the step watching Ram videos, watching Rebel Alliance videos.
Wow.
With earpiece in, and they came out. They was like, "Yo, Captain Robin, you know what's up?" Da, 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 da. And I was like, "Hey, man." I said, "Y'all know how your Shard treat y'all, how he be talking to y'all, how he treat everybody, bro. You know how he do us and everything." They was like, "Yeah. He kind of, you know." I said, "Where y'all think he get that from?" He's like, "I don't know." I said, "He get that from his leaders. He get that from his higher ups." I said, "They treat him like that because I seen it with my own eyes." I said, "That's where he get that from." I said, "Bro, to me, I don't think that's right." You know what I'm saying? And they was like, "Oh, brother, you know, of course they mentioned counsel." I was like, "Counsel?" I said, "But hey, y'all been listening?" I was like, "Where y'all think he get that from?" He get that from his higher ups, who are the people that I'm gonna request counsel from.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's always the solution. Just go to counsel.
No, and in my mind, I was trying to send them the message like, "Bro, I'm done. I'm out." But I couldn't say it at the time. You know what I'm saying? I just couldn't voice that. Yeah. So, we sat there and I was trying to drop it on them. Lahara Osh listened, because I know not too long after I left, he left maybe like a year or two. But the other brother, he really wasn't listening. I think I tried to tell Rapayala. I think Rapayala heard me, but he was still kind of fresh, so he was gung ho. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He was super gung ho at the time. But he didn't give me that judgy vibe either, because I was tight with him too. I spent a lot of time with him too. For whatever reason, it was like certain brothers, I spent a lot of time with them, and I don't understand. I don't know where that came from. I guess because of the rank or whatever duties. But I spent a lot of time with him.
You seen the interview I did with him, right?
Huh? Oh yeah.
Because he was a former. He made it up to bishop when we left.
Yeah, he got which was not surprising. Surprising, bro. That was not surprising at all.
But I remember I had got put out maybe a year after you left, because same thing. I was like, I don't want to deal with this no more. Like, it started getting crazy. I was going to school, working, and with two kids, or with a pregnant wife and a child, and my grandmother. I got mad family. But so yeah, I mean, like, I remember you called me and with Laharash. And we was on the phone, and I was still a believer. And you guys are trying to convince me that this is bull. But I still gave y'all the time. I wasn't disrespectful to you or Laharash, and I gave y'all the time of day, and I spoke to y'all, and I gave you the respect to at least hear y'all out.
Yeah.
Realize that not everybody does that in there. And that's when I realized that's a problem. Because why don't you talk to but you know, Barak Bun, which was your Hebrew name, right? Barak Bun.
Yeah.
Why can't we talk to him? I'm like, the dude, that's my brother. Like, that completely confused me. So I was ready to talk to you. You brought up the Lamborghini. You brought up the women. You brought up a bunch of stuff with Yashar that I was like, I agree. I agree. This is messed up, but we gotta have faith, right? We gotta whatever, you know. King David messed up too. That type of stuff. Like we would have excuses like that. But then I'm not gonna lie, man. I got on YouTube and I started watching your videos, and the tribe of Danessa was great. Why I left the ICGJC was a great video that got tons of views actually. I think you're in the tens of thousands. Like you got a lot of.
I don't even know. I don't even know, dude. I haven't looked at any of it so long.
It because it's always hard to figure out your name because you got the breathe in there.
Yeah.
So I was looking for your channel for a minute one time. I was like, I know it got 3s, but I thought I thought your B was a B and a 3. So I kept doing that. But then I finally found you. And and yeah, you got like 60,000 views, I think, on that video, or at least you had it at the time. And you made great points. Everything was valid. The whole tribe of Dan thing is crazy because there were people from the tribe of Dan, you know, claiming to be at least from the tribe of Dan all over the world. I mean, not all over the world, but in that part of the world.
Yeah.
When the ICGJC teaches that the tribe of Dan is no more, or at least they were no more after a certain time, the way you broke down the half tribe and how the half only meant on a certain half of on the other side of the Jordan River. That was what really stuck with me about that breakdown.
Because there was a lot of scriptures that were like that, dude. They would break them down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's just simple English, bro. It was just simple. It was just basic English. Like, okay, I know it doesn't mean what you're talking about because it's not the sentence isn't structured that way. Like, what the, you know, even the color of Christ stuff. Like, dude,
it's a lot of things that were out of context.
Right, totally out of context, dude. And it would be like that the whole tribe of Dan thing, like that was clear. Like you didn't need nobody to break that down. It clearly differentiated between one half here and the other half there. Like, clearly differentiated that. So I don't know. I never taught that. Anything that you never heard me teach on the podium, I didn't believe it because I didn't. It didn't make sense. So I didn't teach it.
Right.
And even the whole tithe thing, like I would just read that. I wouldn't give the breakdown. I would just read it on the podium because you talking about the tithes and then you want to go to Tobit and like that's not what Tobit says, bro. I don't know where y'all get this 2 tithed and
I remember seeing that. I remember seeing you kind of drift away and just not care. Like your teachings were not like on point. Like I was like, man, he's not teaching like he used to.
Yeah.
Or I'm like, I remember saying like something's off.
Yeah, just then I didn't want to do it no more, dude. Yeah. I didn't believe it. I couldn't sit there and try to push this off on people.
Yeah.
And I didn't believe it. And then at the same time, if you say something wrong or something that Tazadakia wouldn't say, like all of a sudden everybody, you know, especially if he's there, you're gonna get put on the spot, bro. It's like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't really, and a lot of the stuff in the breakdowns and the videos that he would teach, I would never teach that stuff because that didn't make sense to me either. Like none of that shit made sense. I was like, you know what? I would put on the show because I wanted to be there and I wanted to be a part of the brethren and I thought I was doing the right thing. But when it came down to the breakdowns and the scriptures, like that's how you know when I don't believe in something. Like if I ain't talking about it, like I'm off that, bro. Like I'm not even gonna bring it up. Like
I think there's a lot of brothers like that only stick to certain scriptures. They stay away from other scriptures. I used to do that. I think we all did that. I would stay away from certain scriptures. We don't want to be out there teaching people, telling them, men can have more than one wife. You got to pay 20% of your income, and you're gonna get screamed on constantly. We're not gonna, like if we were to be truthful about what was gonna happen. No, it's like we had to kind of like ease people in. Like, no, it's all right. This is your family.
Yeah.
before they know it, they're getting screamed on doing damn
exactly.
push-ups and lions.
Trying to get you in the Hebrew Academy so we can scream on you real quick, dude.
Crazy shit.
Exactly how it was. You got to get eased in, because if people knew what was up from the beginning, they would never join, bro. They would never be a part of that.
So your falling out of the ICGJC was kind of like in conjunction with your falling out of the Bible and the Hebrew Israelite belief, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much, because when I left, dude, so if you're in there, bro, you see them beat down on Christianity so much to the point to where when you leave there, I couldn't see myself really messing with Christianity like that, bro.
Yeah,
I can. Once I was done with them, I was done with, and I was really at a point where it's like, okay, I'm not down with Christianity. I'm not down with the whole Hebrew Israelite thing, but I was still kind of holding on to the Bible and sort of a Christianity kind of mindset with it. And even then, like, I won't sit here and totally denounce the Bible and stuff like that, but I will admit that I don't understand that shit like most people don't do. I ain't, because it's used for different things. It's used in the Christianity. It's used as for Hebrew Israelites. It's used for good things. It's used for bad things. I just think it's one of those books where, like, we truly it's used a lot in a lot of Masonic stuff. We just truly don't understand what we're dealing with, and I know you're an atheist and all of that, but I believe in something, but it's not like something that I can sit here and say that I can prove. It's something that I believe in for me. You know what I mean? Like, I believe in something because I believe in a higher power. Now, what that is, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't sit down and write that down and tell you what that is. But what I can tell you is that, yes, when I left there, I was done with all of that.
Right.
I was done with all of that because I'm not, because really you get taught the whole bad side of Christianity and you see why not to deal with that. And then you learn through experience what the bad side of the whole Hebrew Israelite movement is.
Yeah. I mean, when you hear scriptures like, happy shall he be that taketh the children and dash them against the stones, you're not going to be in a Christian church then being all happy-go-lucky. It just didn't make sense to me. Like, yeah.
When you know stuff like that exists in the Bible, dude, you're not going to be.
Yeah. It was really tough for me to just forget that. I remember Jeremiah 31:10. There's a scripture that says that God is going to make a full end of all nations, but he will not make a full end of Israel.
Yeah.
Like, hold on. So God is going to kill all people. I used to bring that scripture up to Christians. I'm talking about seasoned, like 30-year whole life, like being Christian their whole life, knowing the Bible, and just be stuck. Like, damn, why is that in the Bible? Like,
right.
That's pretty gruesome. And I mean, there's so many things that I was like, let me get to the bottom of this. Like why should I just automatically presume the Bible to be true? And then I realized these are just claims. There's other books just like it, and they make claims. And people, I think, when we ask the I mean, this is the age-old question. How did we get here? Why is there something rather than nothing?
Yeah.
That's the big question. And I think that the most rational, I think that people just gravitate towards, there has to be a higher power that created and intended. But because I don't have proof of that, then I don't know. So I'm an atheist.
It's like I don't have proof of that, so I can't really say.
It's similar to what you do, but you come to a conclusion and you say, well, I think that there is a higher. You believe that there is. You just can't. You know that you can't prove it.
I can't prove that. No.
Right. So you see, what you believe is like, I was there for a minute, and I was also believing that because I knew that I knew I had no proof. I knew nobody had proof either. So that's when I came to that conclusion. I was like, nobody can prove any of this shit. So anybody that tries to even speak like they know something, I know they're full of shit.
Yeah.
So if you're not admitting that you don't know, just like you did, then it's like, you know, you're either confused or you're trying to confuse me and, you know, deceive me.
Yeah, right, right. Exactly.
You know, or I don't know, a combination of both.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I don't know, but that's why I was like, you know what? I remember Thahawam and people in the church saying, well, why do people call UFOs aliens? If they're UFOs, they're unidentified and we don't know what it is. Why are we calling it aliens?
Right.
That was some good logic that was used in the cult against I guess people that believed in aliens, whatever. But they wouldn't use that same logic on themselves or nothing like that. Like they would know how to apply it conveniently, you know, to make other people look like you know, like crap, and that lifts up their belief. But yeah, no, it was a lot of things that I was like, I mean, first of all, the history doesn't line up with a lot of biblical things. The Bible is just a mess. I mean, you can find good things in there, and that's what I was like, okay, well, just because I could find some good things in there, that doesn't mean that everything else is true.
Right.
You know, so
but it's like the saying goes, man. You take the meat and you leave the bones, dude. Like you take what makes sense if you want to. If you want to look at it that type of book, you know, you take what you can use. You know, some stuff is gonna make sense, some stuff gonna seem wild as hell, and some stuff you're gonna be like, oh, you know what, that's dope. I think I'm gonna use that. That's just like any other religious book. If you want to look at the Quran or any other religious book, dude, you take and you leave the bones. And where you run into problems is when you start to believe in these things so wholeheartedly to the point to where you make it truth, and then you try to push that on other people. That's where you run into problems, and you try to make this that your whole life, and I think it was never meant to be that. It was never meant to be that way, dude. Like a lot of the stuff you got to learn on just sheer experience. Some stuff you can't read to learn. You know what I mean? So I don't really.
There were a lot of things that I believed, and I believed it and I taught it very well and confidently. But then there were a lot of things that I wasn't confident with when it came to the scriptures. The whole idea of predestination, of a God predestined, you know, predetermining things is a lot. It causes a lot of confusion with why was he jealous? Or why did he repent that he created man? You know, all that type of stuff. Is like, if God is all knowing, he's not going to feel sorry and be surprised, or he's not going to have those type of emotions. So that was one thing where I was like, hold on. And then also the way that the Bible is written, or the way that the Torah is written, Deuteronomy, for example, it talks about Moses in third person. So I knew that Moses didn't write it. So I was like, okay.
But yeah, they would say that Moses wrote the first 5 books of the Bible, and it's like, dude, he couldn't have.
Moses' death at the end in 34, I think, chapter 34, the last chapter, pretty much. And then what people say, I remember challenging an Israelite with that. I was like, but how would Moses write his own death down? Did that happen before? Did he? I remember because in the cult they said that he wrote down his own death and then it happened, or something like that. But I think that this Hebrew Israelite just said, oh, no, one of his scribes probably finished it off, but he wrote the rest of the book. And it's like, but how do you know where it begins and where it ends, where he left off and where the scribe continued?
Yeah.
So all of those, yeah. So it was like, listen, you can't prove to me anything. I know that these Israelites can't prove to me. They're going to try to convince me of things. And then I realized I was convinced of things for bad reasons. So it wasn't like I was trying to, because I hated the cult and I was just trying to get rid of everything that reminded me of it, because people think that. And it's like, no, it wasn't that. It was just that things didn't make sense at all. And I constantly questioned it, even while I was in there. I constantly questioned these things. So, yeah, I'm sure you were right there, bro. I'm sure you were.
Yeah, dude.
Crazy. Yeah. Well, so out of but what was it that made you believe that you were a Hebrew Israelite in the first place? Was it Deuteronomy 28:68? The ships?
It's a good freaking question, bro.
You don't remember, right?
It's a good freaking question, bro.
Did you kind of?
If I had to really say it, it's really not only, it was a combination of that. It was a combination of me seeing that scripture on the scriptures on Christ's color, and not really paying attention to the wording.
Yeah.
Because ironically, when I figured that out, I was in the church, and when I saw it, I was in the church, and this was around the time right before, I got ready to leave. We was teaching Hebrew Academy, and they had me teaching the English class. And not to toot my own horn, but I was pretty good at English in high school. So when they had me teaching the English class, it kind of brought back some rules, so to say, like the rules of English, the basics of English to me. So now when I started to read this Revelations chapter 1, verse 13, I would notice, like, hold up, this ain't right. Like, something's wrong. So I noticed that something was wrong with that in the church. But in the beginning, before I knew to pay attention to that, that kind of sold me. But then the Deuteronomy 28, I definitely have to say that played a major part in me believing that I was a Hebrew Israelite, because I thought, that no one I really thought that no man shall save you meant nobody was gonna come, and no man shall buy you meant nobody was gonna come and save you out of slavery. I really thought that, you know what I'm saying? So I thought it made sense
by that scripture. The slavery one, I was like, yo, that was when I was like, wow. And then once I read it in Hebrew, then I was like, oh, and then you read the other translation, and it says they were gonna offer themselves, and nobody was gonna buy them. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense, because people used to sell themselves just to make money, or just
to make money. Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, damn, man. Once I escaped and I had a clear mind and a free mind where I was able to freely just use my logic, use my brain, man, my faculties, without any intrusion, without hearing that voice of whatever, like you'll read it and it'll say his hair was white like wool, and you hear like that means his hair was woolly.
Right.
Wait, hold on. What is that? You found that voice in your head, like
bro, this is talking about texture. This is just talking about color. This is talking about texture at all.
How long and how many years, and how, I mean, we would go over that same scripture every day. Like I would go over that scripture every day, teaching somebody, probably, or every, not every day, but yeah, man, like probably something like that. We would teach it, and then our way of teaching it, like we had a format where, okay, now this means that, and we would stop, and then
you were teaching it the way you were taught. The way you were taught it, that's the way you would teach it, and that's the only thing you would think about. You didn't think about the English language and why a comma is here and why a semicolon is there, and you wouldn't think about none of that.
Yeah, none. That's true. Yeah, they would never go into any of the actual like proper grammar. None of that, man.
And it'll be little things like that, because little stuff like that could change the whole meaning, the whole context, the whole meaning of a sentence, dude. And that's literally what was happening. Like, dude, it's put there for a reason so that you can know exactly what it's talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
And even the I remember I was telling somebody this the other day. It was talking about it was the color of brass as if it burned in the furnace. And we would always use that breakdown. We would always say, I think you mentioned it in one of your other videos too. He was like, we will always say, what happens to anything if you put it in the oven and burn it? It comes out black. And it's like, dude, that's not what that's talking about, bro. Like, if anything, my interpretation of it when I was reading it, I was like, this has to be symbolic of something. And what I did is I Googled it. I was like, well, what's the importance of burning any kind of precious metal in fire? 9 times out of 10, it's to remove impurities from the metal. And after it's burnt, after all the impurities are burnt out and they cast it or do whatever they're gonna do with it, they polish it up and it comes out a whole lot purer and a whole lot shinier. So my understanding of that was that this is representation of Christ. He's supposed to be pure. You know what I mean? He's supposed to be clean. This is not talking about his skin color. Like this, you could just clearly see it. But then you have those other scriptures. Like, dude, I'm so far removed. Like, I don't even remember
Yeah.
The scriptures that we
Lamentations 4 and 8. Their visage was blacker than a coal.
right. Yeah, that was another one.
That one?
Yeah.
Well, that one is not talking about skin color at all, because when you look up what visage means, is a facial expression.
Yeah.
So it means that their visage looked black. It means that they looked sad. That's all it's saying. That's all it's saying. That is that they looked down and they were sad.
It makes sense now.
Yeah, because what they would say is that visage means the way that they looked, which it could mean expression, because if you look a certain way and you look down, you can tell that person looks down. So they used to use black as down and sad and lamenting. It wasn't used how we use it now. Like, yo, I'm a black man. They didn't really talk like, oh, they didn't talk like that.
Yeah.
Like they didn't have to talk like that. Everybody was of color, in some type of color at least. So, but I mean, I don't know, man. There's so many scriptures that I had to go back and deprogram. I didn't go through everything, of course, because after a while you're like, this just seems like a whole bunch of crap.
Yeah.
And the more I looked, the more I researched, the more I found that, oh man, I had it completely wrong. Like I just had it. They explained it to you completely wrong, and then they withhold information that really explains what's really going on.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why they isolate you, teach you lies, and then you wonder why everybody talks the same, because we're all just kept in this damn echo chamber. But it's just like the IUIC; they do the same thing. They approached me.
Man.
Yeah, they approached me at the Walmart on the east side, the big Walmart that we used to go to.
Yeah.
Which was I would always be like, yo, let's go out there so I could be close to my crib. Because we was always on the other side of town. That's where most of the believers were at.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just like in the IUIC, most of the believers are in one part of town. They're like by Apopka and Pine Hills. That's like. I'm sure there's a few here and there, but
they got a few brothers that live far. Man, I remember I know that one brother said he used to drive like 2 or 3 hours just to get to class. The one that was in the comments.
Yeah, that's right.
Whatever, Dwayne, he has the
Dwayne Rose.
Yeah. He was saying how bad he had it, bro. So yeah, it's literally the same thing, just a different garment, bro.
You ever notice how you have Israel United in Christ and the Israelite Church of God in Christ, in Jesus?
Yeah.
We were both very similar in what we taught in our doctrines. And do you remember why we said that we were in Christ? Do you remember why they changed the name? There was a breakdown with that. Wasn't that the body of Christ breakdown? It's like
I think that could have been it. I don't remember exactly, but I think that could have been the reason. But that I don't think that's the true reason. I think it was some issues with money.
Right.
Behind the scenes, that's why they changed it. But
that in Christ thing, it also came with the doctrine of us being a body, and we're in Christ, so we are members of that body, and the body is the church, which I forgot the whole breakdown, but it's something like that.
Yeah.
We're members, and we're part of the body. We're part of Jesus Christ is the church is the body, and we're members of that church. So that makes us members of Christ's body. That's what it is. That goes back to like this old Baptist doctrine, the body of Christ, which there's a church called the Church of God in Christ. COGIC. You ever heard of Sly and the Family Stones?
Yeah.
So the main singer Sly? He used to wear Shield of David. You would see him rocking the Shield of David.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing something like that.
Yeah, I post his videos on my Instagram. I love that band. They have great music. I have a lot of videos of him playing in concert with a Shield of David. He was in the Church of God in Christ. And I think that they had some similar doctrine to the ICGJC. I've been wanting to get in contact with somebody that maybe knows. I can't find too much information because they kind of operate like a cult too.
Yeah.
So I would be wondering, because it's like these doctrines are not just like Tal Daka doesn't come up with them in his head.
It's coming from
place. Yeah. So yeah, man. But so then
it seemed like he was coming up on top of his head though.
He would always, I mean, mean, if he doesn't say that he didn't get it from, we would just assume it, because we think God. But yeah, it was always. I mean, just the breakdown themselves served like as some type of a sign, as this guy has to be talking to God, and but being isolated and being in an echo chamber and then not researching, that's just a recipe for disaster, bro.
Yeah, yes it is, bro. Yes it is. Because I remember on my way out, they didn't even want us watching. Dude, I had totally, somebody else brought it up the other day, but I had totally forgot about. They had a whole Antichrist unit out there making videos in response to the whole Rebel Alliance movement. Yeah. And I remember at the time they didn't want us to watch their videos. They didn't really want us dibbling dabbling in other books and stuff like that. And that was another reason why I left, because I was like, I don't understand. If this is the truth, then why are we worried about what somebody else is making? If somebody else is making YouTube videos, and YouTube wasn't even that big at the time, so it's like, you out here making, they out here making YouTube videos. This is something that people use to have fun. Like, people weren't really getting taken seriously on YouTube at that time, so it's like, if that's the case, then why we can't watch this? And that was another reason I was like, you know what, this is probably not the place.
Everybody would watch it though. I remember watching it when we were at the bar one time. Watch it. I mean, this was before, because they came out with a rule that you can't watch it. We were watching it. I was on it. I was on it right away as soon as Andre and a Marksman, as soon as KOC and Marksman pretty much came out, and they were sharing their videos. They ripped up. They had a video where they ripped up.
That was the Bible.
Yeah,
the same one that got me. I saw that. I was like, yo,
wow, yeah, I was amazed. I was like, yo, the sheer disrespect. I was like, holy crap, like even before I came in the cult, I would have never ripped up the Bible. No. But now I
ripped up a garment.
All of that. He tore his garment up in there, and he still kept it on. That shit looks crazy as hell. I'll never forget those videos, because it was like, you needed to hear that just because it was like, oh shit, so I'm not crazy. I'm not the only one that thought about this, because they were bringing up valid points constantly.
Oh yeah.
Once you got out, they were definitely like, yo, don't watch any of this guy's videos. They were speaking about you. They called you Darkness, I think was your nickname or something.
Yeah. That got back to me pretty quick. I was like, Darkness. I was like, that doesn't even make sense. But all right, whatever.
I think that just had to do with. I don't think that had to do with your skin color or anything.
Yeah.
But I thought it did. I was like, are you talking about his skin color? But Jesus Christ is black.
Probably one of them corny jokes that they couldn't even come up with why they made it, dude. It was like, dude, they called. I remember it got back to me that they called me Darkness. They told me, they said that Yashar said I left the church for a hooker and a beer, some shit like that. I was like, what, dude? What is he talking about?
Yeah, they kept blaming your girlfriend or something. I don't know. They were like, yo, it was this girl or something like that.
Oh yeah, man. That shit was hilarious. Cause even like the crazy thing is, man, I ran into Yashar shortly after that, bro, and me and him had a conversation. I just told him straight up. He was like, "Oh, brother, you need to come to council." I was like, "I'm not coming to council, man." And mind you, I already know all the shit that you already said about me. Like, I'm not coming to council. He asked me why I left. I told him why, and
I remember he came to me and told me that he saw you. I remember that.
Yeah, I told him. I said, and part of the reason why I'm leaving is because you threatened to tow my car from in front of the church one day, and I just couldn't make that make sense. Because this is the vehicle that we used to take out the camp. We used to take out a unit work. You talking about towing my car, and my car was down. And he was like, "Oh, I just said that to get you to move the car." I'm like, "Yeah, but you ain't have to say that. You ain't have to do all that." You know what I'm saying? So I felt the way about it. But, I was like, it's neither here nor there, because I'm not coming back to council. I'm not coming back to class. I'm not coming back to the church. Just whatever.
Was that the red Ford that you had?
Yeah, that red Ford Taurus.
Man, that thing held us down, bro. That was the only car we had with my car.
Yeah, it was my car and your car.
That was it.
Driving back and forth to a pop cook because brothers need rides to a pop cook. Got to go to camp. Got to go to unit work, and I got to go to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, and then you want to ride. You're shy to be wanting rides places. Like, bro, like you talking
about to Vero Beach all the time.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Bro, all the way out to Vero.
Yo, that was crazy. We would meet at the outlets out there. My work would come. Would have to drive up from West Palm Beach and meet us halfway or something like that. Yeah, it was great. It was wild times, bro.
Cars that Kia. What you had, a Kia?
Kia Optima.
That Kia Optima and that red Ford Taurus, and I ain't even, you know what, that red Ford Taurus and that black Chevy Impala, a Moss Chevy Impala. He ain't never want to use it, but he used it a lot. Yeah. Them the 3 cars that got ran down, man. I ain't even gonna front. Them cars got drugged through the mud, bro.
Wow. My Kia Optima, man, that thing held us down, bro. We went to Miami. I went to Miami twice in a week during the earthquake in Haiti when that happened.
Yeah.
With that car, I took that to Jacksonville. I took it to Tampa many times. Man, we would take it everywhere because we had missions to go all around Florida, and we would end up in damn little hick towns, and we ended up in all types of towns, man, where we were just like, sometimes it would be, it would result in some people listening, but sometimes, we would get no results. People would not want to hear us. We had bottles thrown at us one time.
I ain't know that, dude. I ain't know y'all had bottles thrown at y'all.
Oh man, we was walking. They
wanted y'all gone.
Yeah, but Rashon was there, and Rashon was not having it. We was like, we wasn't bitching up or nothing, but we was in one of those like complexes. I think it was the one that Kalata Ziyar lived in. You remember that?
Oh, okay, yeah.
I remember that one, like off of I don't even know, man, Rio Grande or something. Nah, no. It's not Rio Grande, but it's like close to like
it's Orange Center. It was off of Orange Center.
Yeah, it was something like
the brothers from Miami came up to march with us or something like that, or the brothers from Fort Myers or something like that.
Yeah, and there was like some Mexicans drinking Coronas in the balcony.
Yeah. And
they threw bottles at us as we were marching because we were like doing our cadences and our military songs and all that crap.
Yeah.
The mighty Hebrew Israelites. And then Rashwan was like, "Yo, you better be careful, man. We the men of the Lord," or something like that. And the Mexicans was like, "Oh, sorry, Papa." And we see, that's the Lord right there. That's Issachar, man. We used to be idiots, bro. We used to like any little thing, like if it could be a white person, bro. It could be a white person that could be like mildly interested in what we're saying. And we'd be like, "That's a Jake. That's an Israelite right
there." Yeah. What the hell we talking about? That's a Jake, Israelite right there. But then want to turn around and be like, "The Lord hates the white man, and Jesus Christ hates the white man, and all nations is going to hell." Like, bro, like this is counterproductive.
I had with that understanding from the beginning. I was like, "Damn. So everybody's worthless?" I was like, "Everybody's going to hell?" Like, so hold on. So people that did nothing wrong, right? They're gonna go to hell because of the situation that God created. Like that. It just doesn't make sense. Even if you want to say that, okay, well, no, God is for the Gentiles and He accepts everybody. There's people right now in countries that never heard Christianity, families that have been dying for generations, never heard Christianity. What happens to them in that case, in their spirit? How do they get judged properly? But they have answers for everything, They have answers for everything, bro. You can put it off and say, no, they judgment is held until blase blah, the lake of fire or something like that.
I forgot about the lake of fire.
Oh yeah, there's the lake of fire, and then there's this lake of fire is supposed to be the final judgment, where at least the ICGJC used to teach that hell was going to be thrown in the lake of fire. Remember that?
I do remember that.
Like, I used to think, like, how is hell going to be thrown in the lake? Just like, all right, whatever.
You know, like that, I could hear Manatazak in my bun. Yeah, I could hear them.
No evidence needed.
None whatsoever, bro.
Just because of the fact that Tazadakia said it, it's just like, that's it. It's true. It's got to be true. Man, but I think we covered a lot, bro. We covered a lot, and I think I covered everything I wanted to go over. Did you want to go over anything extra?
No, man. I'll just say this. I made those videos in the beginning, bro, and I didn't expect to get that many views. You know, the views that I have, that don't seem like a lot to me, but at the time, still didn't expect to get that many.
Yeah.
That's child's play compared to some of the stuff you be bringing out, bro. So
Oh,
I'd
thank
be like, when I left, I knew, because when I left, there was nobody else out. It was just me, So I had a little moment while I was out. You go through a little depressive stage where you don't got no friends because you don't cut everybody off because you're dealing with this place. But I knew, I was like, somebody's gonna leave. Somebody's gonna leave, and I used to tell myself, so I know I'm not the only one. I said I could see the looks in other brothers' faces, and I could feel the vibe on it. I was like, I know I'm not the only one. And I just, after a while, I kind of let loose of that because I ended up meeting up with the brother Shalunga Bar or whatever. And we hit it off because, he was always 1 foot in, 1 foot out anyway. So I forgot about him when I left. And me and the brother actually went to high school together. But somehow, some way, I don't even remember how we linked up. But we linked up and we got tight. But I used to tell him, I was like, bro, somebody else is going to leave. And we used to sit and we used to talk. I used to be like, you know what, I'm going to predict it. Because actually, no, I'm wrong. Somebody else had already left. The Rock Bun had already left. But he went all the way back to Omaha. So we ain't had no contact.
Yeah.
But I said, the Rock Bun left. I said, I left. And we used to sit and try to come up in our own minds of the order of who's going to leave next. And it has to be like, man, Shayar gonna leave next, or Lahara's gonna leave next. I think I told him, I said, Lahara's gonna be the next one. And sure enough, he came out maybe like a year later, maybe 6 months to a year later, he came out.
Yeah, it was way close. It was a lot closer than when you left. It was maybe 3 months, bro. Maybe 6 months. So I don't know.
You're right. Because he told me, because me and him, we talked, but he had already been out for a while.
Yeah. He came back. He left and came back. Remember?
Okay.
That's what happened. Yeah. And then he finally left for good. I remember that. And then his because he had a brother or something that would come around too, and they both stopped coming around. And then
his brother was 1 foot in, 1 foot out, so I knew he wasn't finna stick around. But I don't remember everybody's exact video, almost to the T from what we sat down and we talked about. It was almost to the T, man. It was like the way cats just started dropping out. I was like, because the ones that I know were gonna stay were gonna be like, I thought Rapayala would have left sooner, but he didn't. But the ones that I knew were gonna stay were gonna be Amath, was gonna be McGunn, was gonna be My Bun, was gonna be Manatazaka, and I'm on. I knew those ones. I was like, they're gonna be here a while.
I give Amath too much credit, I think, because I mean, that dude to me was one of the smartest people in there. Am I bugging? Like
No, you're not.
I would think that. I mean, remember he was valedictorian, right, or whatever it's called. He won the Officer 5000. But I mean, I guess that's why he's very dedicated. So that's definitely something that I always saw. Like he always made sure he did what he needed to do for the church before anything.
Yeah, he's dedicated and he's sharp. And he was sharp, man.
Yeah.
And that's all I can really, because I know the man personally, so I ain't.
Right. I used to think maybe he's gonna leave, but I don't know, man. Everybody has like something that's keeping him in there, like I be trying to think like, what the hell's keeping my cousin in there? Like, what is it? And it's gotta be, I mean, it definitely is the doctrine and fear and all of that just coupled. But I don't know, man. I'm thinking now that Tazadaki is dead, I'm thinking they're gonna get a little more braver. And maybe you'll see more people leaving.
A lot of people are staying because they don't want to feel like a big "I told you so," like they wasted their life up in there.
Yeah.
They don't want to have to turn around and say, "Oh, look at all of this time that I sat here and I wasted. This is still gotta work. This has to work." It's like they're trying to force it and make it work. That's why people like your cousin, like Amath, and a bunch of other people in there that have had major life events happen to them while they were in there, bro. And they can't see themselves recovering from that if they leave. You know what I'm saying? And it's really, in my mind, it's really not a thing of recovery. It's like, okay, if you leave, you gain your life. You have more opportunities to do certain things. Yeah, you had these major life events happen to you while you were in here at because of the church. You can still recover from them things, but I think that's why a lot of them are still there, and then a lot of them are still going to stay because I don't know if the culture is still the same, being that Tazadaki is not there. Maybe if things have gotten better and a little less strenuous, then people are probably gonna stay.
Yeah.
But if it's still the same and it's still the same teachings, and you still trying to, which I think they're still beating people in the head for Hanukkah money and stuff like that. So I think a lot of people are gonna leave because of that, because of the financial thing, because they put way too much emphasis on that. You know what I mean? So they put more emphasis on that than they do the teachings. It's really more money than anything. But I think that's why a lot of people are going to stay, and I think that's why a lot of people stayed, and I think that's why a lot of people are still going to stay.
Yeah.
All the smart ones that I knew, I was like, he's going to be gone soon. Took a while for some of y'all. I was like, but y'all all left. Now, the rest of them, I can't really speak for it, because that group, that last little group of brothers, Manatazak and them, I didn't know them like that when they came in.
I didn't really know them like that until, of course, I became my cousin's husband, and then we got a little more closer at least, but we still weren't as close as a lot of the other brothers that I was close to.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. We just wasn't. We were not the same age. I'm older, and it's just, I don't know, just different. But I know what you mean. But when they came in, the way they came in, how quickly they just adapted, it was crazy. It was like wow, in my head at the time, I'm like, that's the Spirit, that's the Lord. But I look at it now and I'm like, oh no, that's just being naive and just gullible and not knowing anything. These people didn't know anything. They were like 18, maybe 19. The youngest, my brother, was probably like 17. They were.
They came in kind of like how me, Shayar, and Amath came in, like that group of friends that was tight. We all came in, and none of us can say that we came in. All of us can, I'll put it like this, all of us can admit that the part of the reason why we came in is because, we was a group, and everybody else was moving in that direction, so we moved in that direction. Right. So I think that's where Manatazak, Ibun, I'm a one, Magun, I think that's how they came in, and they're not really connected. It was kind of like they're the new generation of the cats that came in, and that's why I don't think too many people connected with them like that. They were tighter with each other than they were with everybody else, from what I could tell. And that's why I never felt like they felt fresh.
After we were gone, I heard the types of stories that they got close. I was close with my bun. My bun was he has a heart of gold, like that guy was an honest dude. And my bun means little son. He was our little son, he was like, and he told me, he messaged me, he was like, oh, I need you to come back. I remember him messaging me that before I became, before I definitely spoke out. He was still like messaging me like, yo, I miss you, brother. He would always show me mad love, but when they were young, when they came in, like our congregation, Orlando as a whole, was very young. Yeah. And I always remember that. And man,
every single one of us was.
The oldest one was like Kodash Bar. He was like the oldest rank.
Yeah, he was the oldest one. If you count, because he's in his 40s.
Yeah.
If you don't count him, everybody else was like 29 and below.
Yeah.
Everybody else is in their 20s.
20, and I left like about 27, 26 or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it was around. Yeah, it had to be around that, from 20 to like 26.
Yeah,
and, but I was still a believer. I still believed I was an Israelite for like 3 or 4 years after being put out, and then it was a process. Like with me, it was a process. I think that's all it takes. People have to realize and put things together. I don't know if there's ever. I mean, I'm sure. Well, yeah, I'm sure there's going to be like one single event that could bring people out. Tazadaki's death should have been it, but man, if that didn't do it, I mean, I don't expect it to happen overnight, but
then at the same time, are they even having like physical classes? Are they in the churches because of the whole Corona situation?
No. You know what? I wanted to put a picture up last time when I streamed. I forgot. Someone sent me a photo of headquarters. They actually have the gate down. You know, I've never seen it like that before. The gate is down. You can't. It's closed. But you know, New York City is a little more strict with the COVID.
Yeah.
So I think that had something to do with it. But I have pictures of it right now.
So I could assume that maybe there's a lot of people that's out already that haven't really just said anything yet because of the whole Corona thing.
Jasmine Fidd. This is a former ICGJC member. I remember seeing this name a lot. She said, "I feel like it's always harder to leave when you are in HQ, right? Because you're connected to all that. Like we always wanted to be closer to New York City. We wanted to be close to the apostles because we felt like, you know, they were the teachers pretty much. They had a better, you know, we liked their classes better. They were like sharper to us or whatever. Yeah. It made more sense at least. But yeah, I think they got a good hold on them brothers in New York City, a really good hold. But I mean,
I couldn't really tell because I don't really know too many. Oh well, yeah, St. Ivan. There's other circumstances to those brothers being out, but yeah. I don't know what that feeling is. I don't know. Maybe she's right. I think, me personally, I think it's a psychological thing. It's like where you're at in your head at that time. Yeah. If you're not ready. And I used to tell people this all the time, like, you're not gonna be able to convince them to leave. They have to convince themselves to leave. Like, it's not until you make the decision, that's when you leave. Nobody else can coax you into doing it. Nobody else can talk you into doing it. Because if they try this, they inadvertently reinforce the hold. So you can't really.
I think that's what I did with my cousin, man. Like I confronted her one day because what she started doing, I messaged her and I told her straight up. I'm like, listen, you know, I just want you to know that what's going on in there. So she's like, well, I don't want to talk about it, but you know, you're still my family. So at that time, we were still cool, and we would see each other. We would see each other like in our family's cribs, and we would have like, you know, gatherings. And she won't say nothing to me. It was weird as hell. And I was like, nah, this is not gonna happen where I'm just gonna allow it. I'm gonna talk to her. So I caught her by herself, and I brought up Yahalama because I had just spoken to Yahalama. So I was like, well, do you remember what happened with Yahalama? You know, she got so defensive that she started attacking me. Instead of addressing what I was saying, she just started saying, well, that's why you did this and you did that. She just started attacking things that I did. Yeah. And I'm like, yo, just completely changing the conversation as like, okay, well, so what if he did that? Look what you did. It's like, what? Like,
I don't got nothing to do with none of that.
Bro, it's like the force is so strong with that one. It's like you can't like penetrate her because you bring up a situation and you corner her, and she quickly wiggles out by putting it on you. And then you're like, damn, now I got to defend myself. But I'm like, I'm not the one claiming to be the damn comforter.
Yeah, I didn't claim to be the Holy Spirit. What the hell?
Yeah, I think about it now, and I'm like, she pulled the ill red herring, and I wasn't ready for it. You know, I wasn't really studying. I wasn't ready for it at all. I wasn't studying the critical thinking like that. So my responses were like delayed and shit. Like I would think of it, I'd be like, oh shit, I should have said that. I'd be like, damn, I told her this. It was
what you mean, bro.
I pushed her away. It was too late by then. It was like after that, she brought out something personal about me in front of all the family. And I was like, wow, you want to do that? I knew that she was suicidal at that time. I knew. Yeah. So I brought it out right there, and that was the end of it, bro. She never wants to talk to me again after that because I blew up her whole spot. And I was like, I know that you wanted to commit suicide. And she was like, what? And you should have seen her face, bro. She was shitting in, you know, she couldn't say nothing. And then she was like, oh, well, that's why you're a hacker. And I was like, what? And she thought that I hacked into her computer to find that out or something. but she didn't know, like, you know,
I
Laziza,
shouldn't laugh at that. That's not funny.
yeah. But Laziza was sending me all that stuff. And it was like that. I was like, oh, nah, this is serious. This is not a game. People are suicidal up in there. So yeah, that's when I was like, oh, I'm starting this channel and everything. She don't want to talk to me directly. She's gonna hear from me indirectly because I know they be watching videos. I don't know how.
Come on, dude, they watch.
I don't know if she's watching it because she's disciplined.
She might not. Yeah, she might not. But somebody else in there.
Really, and I kind of like really exposed something very personal, you know, which she did the same thing to me, but it doesn't make it right. I probably should have.
Yeah.
It was like a response, you know, like I said, I wasn't ready. So I was just responding back to whatever she was saying instead of sticking to my points, which is Tabakia is a deceiver, charlatan.
Mm-hmm.
It's just we got off the topic. It was like, damn, yo, like I didn't do what I wanted to do. And and then the channel came out. By that time, man, I was already convinced. We had already linked up. You know, we spoke about it. A bunch of us had already linked up.
Yeah.
But you know, yeah. So I mean, at this point, whoever leaves, you know, I hope that they're watching videos. I hope that they're asking questions. I hope that they ask questions in there, not leave like on the low. Like they need to put shit out there, you know, because churches are gonna go on. So like, you know, I made videos about the future of the ICGJC. I think it's just gonna go on, bro. Like, do you agree? You think it's just gonna go on, right? Kind of like what you were into earlier.
It could. Mm-hmm. I mean, it could. I mean, I think I say that and you know, and totally go against what I want. Like I don't want it to go on forever. Like, but I believe it's always gonna be something there. It's gonna be like it's gonna be like Yahweh being Yahweh. There's always gonna be some followers there. You know what I mean? But is it gonna be like it is today? Probably not. It'll probably be far from that. If anything, you might see a lot of people dissent and go over to IUIC because they just look aesthetically, they look better right now. But again, same shit, different garment. I really what I would say to people is, you know, ask the questions because you need to know for yourself. Ask those questions so you can hear these dumbass answers that they give for them. So you can know for yourself that when you really get ready to leave, you know, it's not no looking back, you know. And then for the ones that don't want to ask questions, you're already sure you want to get the fuck about it here, go ahead and leave, man. Ain't nothing finna happen. You know what I'm saying? Right. Especially for you churches, especially you guys that can't go to class right now because of COVID. You know, maybe the church ain't open and, you know, you off doing some other stuff. Like I heard it's a brother right now that's supposed to be here in Orlando. He off in another city somewhere in Florida because of the whole COVID thing, doing his thing. Like, but he's still part of the church. Like, if you're in a position like that and you getting ready to leave, just leave, man. Just bounce, you know. But if you get the opportunity to put them on the spot and actually use some critical thinking, which is something that I regretted for a long time when I left there. I was like, damn, I wish I had known what I knew now, and I wouldn't have left so abruptly. You know, I would have did this in front of everybody just so they could see, and then I would have left. But you know, and it's not like that was the other thing I wanted to say earlier too. It's not like how it was when I left. You guys now have something. You got a support system. You got a Facebook group. You got this brother. I mean, you got a whole bunch of people online right now that you could talk to. You know, when you're feeling away or you feeling confused, you could talk to these people. I ain't have that. I just had a laptop and some Rebel Alliance media videos. And
look at what we had. Like me, I had well, not really, because when I really started waking up, you know, we had a lot of information. Yeah. You didn't have the information. You had way less information. So yeah, like I had to be sure and shit. Like I was like, I remember talking to Yaquam. Yaquam was the one that called me and told me what was about to go down. He was like, yo, first of all, he got a spot out in Jersey, which is the fake building, the fake business. Yeah. And he got cars out there that have all types of shit in there, pretty much. Like he explained to me what was about to go down. and it clicked right there. I was like, Yaquan, man. You know, he didn't have to. He makes things clear, and it was like, okay, he put it in a way where I was like, wow, like he really set it up and just showed me the fake business, the front scheme, and everything. He explained it perfectly, and me being a person that's been doing my taxes for years, I understand how the IRS works. I understand the tax system. I understand how people can scheme because there's loopholes, especially with the 501c3 license.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, this is a big scam. How didn't I see this? It just clicked one day, and I was like, man, Rebel Alliance Media. I went right to Rebel Alliance Media, bro. I was already watching it, and I've seen some videos, but I went a long time without really, I wasn't really motivated. But then I picked up and started watching it. Like, I'm talking about hours a day, and then every day I would watch yours. I would watch Andre. I would watch even the Christians like Vocab. I would watch Faithful to God, and anything that went against either the ICGJC or Hebrew Israelites to bring clarity to what I thought was true. Yeah. I'm watching it and I'm like, I'm gonna figure this shit out quickly because that's just how I am. Right? I need to know. I need to be sure. I couldn't just leave blindly and just be like, I'm gonna just disappear, kind of like how the Rock Bun just disappeared.
Yeah, he slid, man.
He told me I still on a regular basis. He told me he was like, it took time for him to really understand where he went wrong.
Yeah,
he didn't do that right away. And I mean, once I spoke to Yaquam, I went right to it right away. And it didn't take that long for me to realize that the doctrine is bullshit. The Bible has all types of inconsistencies with history and all of that. And you know, I came to this point of obviously, but yeah, I had a lot more because the video of the van, you didn't have that. you were already out. But then people that are leaving now have that in Justice League, which is an easy stepping stone out of the cult into another similar group, right? And that's what I told some of them cats, and I know a lot of them cats don't like me, bro. But
for real.
That's a whole nother story. I mean, there's a lot of them brothers. I got mad love for them. Yeah. I mean, all of them really, man. It's just certain things with a few of them that they say or they've done. You know, they still have the belief. Some of them still keep the Hebrew names. Yeah. And I'm just confused by all of that.
I can see you doing it, you know, because it's your Facebook page. You probably do it just to kind of mess around or whatever, or like. Right. For me, for a long time, I used it just because, like, I was like, it's my name. I'll use it. It's fake anyways. It's not real Hebrew. But after a while, when I stopped using it, like, the only thing it's on now is, like, an email or something. But when I stopped using it, it's like, it's not that. This man literally told, this is how the story was told. Like, the man went in his room, locked himself in his room for, like, a year. And that's how he came up with the 12 tribe breakdown. And then, you know, they came out with this Lashawan Kodash thing and this, and like, dude, there's no explanation. I remember I made a video about that too. I posted it about the Lashawan Kodash and what the explanation was. Yeah, to me, trying to figure out where's the proof. You know, how can I show this to somebody? And there's no explanation. There's no proof, dude. There's no book you can go to read and say, okay, well, look, this is where these pronunciations come from, and this is what this means. There's nothing. It's just totally fairy tale made up language, dude. And I don't understand why some people keep the names and like want to be called by their name. And like, bro, like, yeah, it's okay, cool. Like if you don't have to disclose that to people. If you're just keeping it because, hey, I like the name, cool. But if you're doing it because you think that's real, like, bro, like you gonna have to. Yeah. You know what? Let me take that back. You do what the fuck you want to do. Yeah. But if you know that shit ain't real, like, man, you can do what you want to do with that, bro. Like, I don't get it.
I know that they have probably a good explanation, a good rebuttal or whatever for what they believe, and I've heard certain things where they maybe some of them don't believe in the 12 tribes breakdown, but they still believe they're an Israelite. Some of them don't believe that they're Israelites, but maybe they believe in the Bible still. So yeah, like there's like different transitions that you go through coming out of the ICGJC. But the first step is, from what I remember, is okay. I no longer believe in the Comforter doctrine, but I guess I'm still a Hebrew Israelite. I guess I'm still from the tribe of Simeon or whatever.
Yeah.
But I was gonna go to IUIC. I was gonna go to an IUIC class, and that same week I started prepping for it, and I started reading the Bible like crazy and getting questions ready. Yeah. And I answered the questions myself, and I realized this is bullshit. That 10 tribes down is bullshit. The Native Americans are not, the 10 tribes of Israel and all that crap. Right when I noticed that, I was like, I'm not an Israelite. Like, that's not, but then it took time for me to kind of realize everything else was bullshit. But yeah, they just, I mean, the trap is that you have to believe in everything in the Bible. That's the trap. It's like, once they convince you with one thing and they show you the color of Christ, now that opens you up now to kind of say, well, if they were right, if that was correct, they must be right about other things.
Right about the other stuff. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. You're totally right about that. That is the trap. Like you overlook, once you believe in one thing, you overlook everything else, dude.
Because you open yourself up and you feel like, oh, this person knows something.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, it's good to speak with you, brother. It's getting late. It's 11:40 right now. It's Sunday, so I don't know. Tomorrow's Monday. I gotta work tomorrow.
Hey, I gotta work.
I know you're a hard worker, bro. We gotta do what we gotta do. But I appreciate this, man. This was great.
No problem, man. No problem.
This is well overdue. Like we said, we should have done this years ago.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you, man. You gonna do any more videos on your channel? Are you done? You done with the videos?
I'm probably done with the videos, man. I don't know, man. even that last video that I posted, it was just a random story out of nowhere. So if I do anything, it'll probably be something like that. But it ain't nothing too serious.
Random.
Yeah. If I make videos, it's probably be something totally not on that topic. It'd be about something else.
Right. I kind of got to that point where I was like, you know what? What else can I address? But like you said, there might be something that comes out later on where you might address it, something big.
Dude, you went out, dude.
I went in. Bro.
You went ham, dude. You went far beyond the videos that I could have made. A lot of the stuff that you make, a lot of stuff you talk about reminds me of that Ram stuff when I was first leaving, dude. And then you go even further in, like even deeper. Like I be like, yo, this dude is eating them up.
I thought it was really important for people to get the critical thinking and understand the logical fallacies that are made and how easily you could be tricked. And you would think it sounds good, and it's like, no, that's not logic. That's not logical. It doesn't follow.
Yeah,
that's what logical fallacies are. They're just like hidden. So I was like, that's what Tazdaka is. That's the tricks that he wields. That's how he gets people. He can make something appear to be true by giving an example or comparing it to something else, or completely changing the subject and flipping it on you. But I appreciate that, man. I mean, I put in a lot of work, bro. It took a lot. Yeah, and I feel probably like where you're at now. It's like we did enough, man. It's like at this point,
yeah, dude. It's like, all right, well, we're gonna see who's gonna pick up the batons. Hell, when you ready to wind down, somebody else is gonna be coming out and they're gonna pick up the baton and take it from where you left it, and it's gonna continue to broken down. It'll still be here, but it ain't gonna be a movement like how it was, man. It's just not. Unless they change something drastically about that whole BHI movement, which I doubt they will.
Yeah.
It's gonna go to the wayside of that whole Yahweh ben Yahweh, even that Nuwapian movement. They're still around, but you barely ever hear about them. That's how that whole Hebrew Israelite movement is gonna be, bro. Give it about 10, 15 years, man. We won't even hear much about them like that anymore, dude.
I hope so, man, because that's just crazy. But I appreciate you, my brother. It's been a good combo. Need to be free. This has been San Miguel TV. And I'm going to end it at that. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
And all that. Yo, I'll holler at you, my brother. Everybody else, have a safe night. And peace out.
All right. One.
Y'all.